rejection. I know it's only redirection. I see the blessings right beside me. The chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes. Don't make excuses, they never excite me. Boxes, boxes. I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, stop it. Quitting was never an option. Exhausted, exhausted. This passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it. Nah, you cannot stop it.
Good morning, Knicks Universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Knicks Morning Brew on this Monday, December 11th. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, joined by my compadres. I got my guy, Mr. Phil Porto, and the one and only handsomest man in the universe, Eddie Presti. Fellas, how you doing?
Go for it, Eddie.
Good, man. Chilling. Getting ready for tonight's game. Thinking about it already. Mitch is out. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm hanging in there. I wrapped myself Christmas wrap this morning for Hector.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Eddie's just coming from his one-man show from A Christmas Story, the original movie that came out in the 70s, right? So salute.
salute. Yeah, man. I had a good weekend. I worked a few different jobs in the whiskey brand era and some Christmas parties and stuff like that. So that was fun. And now I got Papi Chulo over here, and I got John Travolta meets Feliz Navidad over here, staying alive. So it's going to be good. It's going to be a good show. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. Let's do a few shout outs in the chat before we continue. And also, we are sitting on 1,858 subscribers. We are almost at our goal of 2K before the year is over. So if you're watching this for the first time, if you're tuning in casually, please smack that like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us out with the algorithm, and it helps us when it comes to growing the channel. But let's do the shout outs and the roll call. My guy Mega NYK is in the building.
Yeah.
Our friend Jonathan is in the building. Salute. The only DSJ that I acknowledge in my life is Delano Still Jr. Salute, DSJ. Hope all is well. My guy Shy Powers is in the building. The Immaculate Soul Fingers in the building. Soul Finger, how you doing? And the most fit 65-year-old that I ever met in my life. My guy Double A is in the building. Double A, how you doing? Savage NYC is in the building. Salute. Like I said, if you guys can, smack that like button for the boys as we continue the conversation. But fellas, we are coming off of a loss or a beat down when it comes to the Knicks versus the Boston Celtics. We had some injury scares at the end of the game when the game was already out of reach. We should have took out our starters, but Jalen Brunson, he left the game. Reports are saying that he'll be playing tonight, but we don't have favorable reports for our guy, Mr. Mitchell Robinson. So I'll throw it over to you, Phil, and throw it over to Eddie. What's your thoughts with Big Mitch being out, bro?
Yo, it's definitely something that we have to be careful with. This is a scary thing for us, especially at this point in the season. We're going into probably what everyone says is the hardest part of the New York Knicks season starts now. And we've already been struggling the last few games, on and off. And without Mitch, that's going to be an issue. Like, we are not a great shooting team. We're just not. And so the only reason we're still good offensively and get good offensive, ratings is because we get multiple attempts. And that's because of our offensive rebounds from Mitchell Robinson. As great as, Hartenstein's been for us, he can't do it alone. And Sims, this is one of the problems with having such a short rotation and not letting players get any, pedal to the metal throughout the season, is when you actually need them. Like, if we end up needing Sims has probably played 3 minutes this season, on the actual NBA court. So to expect him to come in and give us the same level of competition that, Mitch would give us or Hartenstein would give us off the bench, it's not going to happen. So it's very concerning. And honestly, I texted it to you guys, but I want to read it. I have prayers going up for Mitchell Robinson, because if you look, he's the guy that kind of wears his heart on his sleeve when it comes to social media. And he posted something where he said the exact tweet was, been battling stuff my whole life. Some days I feel like I take 10 steps ahead, and others I feel like I take 20 steps back. Even when I do what I'm supposed to, God throws these battles at me that feel like they're unbeatable no matter what I do. I know I shouldn't be letting this stuff get to my mental, but over time, it just takes over. And so, more so about him playing the game, the fact that this is affecting him mentally and emotionally and stuff like that is the bigger concern, like praying for his well-being on that whole level. And I've seen some tweets and it makes kind of sense. The amount of pressure that a player still plays with minor injury on a Tom Tibido team is always concerning, because they always push themselves further than someone else might. You've seen players put their hand up and be like, take me out on other teams. We don't find out that a player is like really injured, unfortunately, until they say that they've been playing with an injury on and off, so prayers for Mitch. I hope he comes back soon.
All right. Go ahead, Eddie. And before I do that, shout out to my guy Forever Profits NYK that is in the building. Salute to you, fella. Go ahead, Eddie.
So, the whole thing with Mitch is I'm just going to look at what's in front of us, and that's the Raptors, right? So the last time we played the Raptors, we were getting out rebounded the entire game. And somehow in the fourth quarter, we actually overtook them, and I think we beat them by 1 rebound. So to me, Toronto's a tough matchup. We know they're a big team. We know they're a long team. But when you don't have Mitch, you have a big, big problem going against them. So I'm very worried about their matchup. Their guys didn't play that well last time, right? OG had a really bad game. Scotty Barnes lit us up. Siakam wasn't his best. So I'm worried about tonight's game versus Toronto with Mitch out. I'm worried about how Sims fits in, like Phil was saying, because he hasn't played. He hasn't played at all. So, this is concerning. And then, when you take a look at the schedule and a lot of people just are going till Christmas, go to New Year's Day. This schedule it's a nightmare, fellas. It's an absolute nightmare. Yeah. So with Mitch being out extended periods of time, man, I don't want to be a pessimist, but it's looking like this team could go under 500 at some point because that's how hard the schedule is. So I know Mitch is battling a lot of stuff. I don't know what that is. I know he had a lot of stuff. I know we found out about the old coach that stays at his house, and he sounds like he's got a lot of mental stuff going on. So prayers up to him. I hope he gets better. I hope he's okay. But Knicks are in a lot of trouble right now. Knicks are in a bad spot.
Yeah, and it's tough right now because Mitchell Robinson was probably having his best season as a pro. To have this type of injury pop up on Mitchell Robinson, we don't know what the timeline is going to be. Ankles are a bit tricky, especially in the NBA. You could be out for a couple of games, or you could be out for damn near a month and a half to 2 months. It just depends on how severe that ankle sprain was. He wasn't practicing this weekend, so that right there should go and show you it's not on our good side. Shout out to my guy, Anthony Garcia. Platino Power is in the building. Anthony Garcia, salute. My guy Frankie V is in the building. Frankie, hey, yo, Frankie. Hope all is well, Frankie. Salute. Adrian Pagano is in the building. Seeing MIL back-to-back games. The league is pushing Knicks fan base to the brink with that one. Yeah, the league is trying to make the Knicks fans lose their mind. Back-to-back games against Milwaukee. We got 4 games left with the Boston Celtics on the season. But fellas, injuries are a part of the game. And like you said, Phil, right? This is what happens when you have a short rotation. Guys like Jericho Sims, they need to get burned in order to feel like they're a part of things, in order to feel like they can actually contribute. On the 9 games that Jericho Sims has played this season, my man Jericho Sims is only getting, 2.5, 2.8 minutes per game, mostly garbage minutes he is coming in. So it's going to be a test. It's the next man up that we're going to need to see out there. Isaiah Hartenstein will be starting in replace of Mitchell Robinson. Let's see how Jalen Brunson even returns from his little injury that he had. Yes, he practiced. Yes, he's going to play, but is he going to be 100% sure? I'm 100% healthy. I'm not sure when it comes to Jalen Brunson. So this is going to be a test. And, you know, at the hardest time of the season when it comes to our schedule, they're just throwing tests our ways. But with Mitchell Robinson out, our defense over the past 5 games has been struggling. And it's not going to get any easier with Mitchell Robinson out. So let's talk about a defense, right? Stephen Bondi posted it up. This is Julius Randle comments. He says, our commitment level has to be picked up. Our intensity, recovering the three-point line, all of that stuff. So, Phil, I'm going to throw the ball in your court. What's your thoughts about the Knicks' lack of defense over the past few games?
You know, man, it's one of those things that this is where I get kind of a love-hate relationship with number 30. Because that is such a great quote. And it would be such a great quote if I saw him execute that stuff. Like if I saw him give the kind of effort and determination on playing both ends of the court that he talks about. I saw a hilarious quote, and I wish I would have saw who tweeted it, but I saw it real quick in scrolling. But they posted that, and then right underneath was the music video for Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson. And like saying that Julius Randle needed before that game, this next game, he needed to have that conversation with himself in the mirror. Because our defense has been, you know, atrocious these last few games, especially from the 3-point line. And that's the craziest thing to me. And we talked about it last episode, is like, how many seasons do we have to have the conversation that we don't know how to guard the 3-point line? Like, Boston, we got close again in that Boston game because Boston stopped hitting their shots. Like, it wasn't that we were guarding them, it's that they were not hitting their shots. And then we made stupid coaching decisions that kept us from actually getting back in the game, which we'll talk about. But our defense from the 3-point line especially makes no sense in a 3-point focused NBA. Like, it doesn't make sense. You put this defense in the 90s, maybe we're good. Put it right now, and we look pathetic. The fact that our own guys are saying we're always running out. Yeah, we are. So fix that. Like, how many games do you have to acknowledge it before it actually changes? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, shout out to my brother, Mr. Worldwide Mayberry from For the Love of the Game. I hope all is good. Make sure you guys go and support my guys, Hard Will, and my brother, Worldwide L, over there For the Love of the Game. Go ahead, Eddie.
Listen, man, the team defense has been atrocious over these last few games. I mean, the Knicks have been getting embarrassed on the 3-point line, like Phil just said. You know, I touched on it in the bottom line. In the second and third quarter over the last 2 games, you know, the Knicks have been letting these teams shoot over 60% from the 3 in the second and third quarter alone. The Knicks, they were 7th in team defense coming into that into that Milwaukee game. They're now down in 9th. So we're a team that's supposed to be known for our defense, and we are anything but. I mean, we can't shoot and we can't defend. So to me, I don't know what, you know, this all lies on Tibbs. You know, he's supposed to be a defensive-minded coach, and he's not. He's not been that. I mean, we've been anything but. We've been a good 3-point shooting team for the most part. But as far as a shooting team, we've been terrible. We're almost last in the league in field goals still. We can team defensive rating. We dropped from 7th to 9th. I mean, this continues to go on. I mean, I don't understand what we're doing here. You know, if we can't stop the 3, we're not going to win because it's like we're going out and we're trading 2s for 3s almost every single possession. You can't win in the NBA like that. You can't win like that. And you watch it, and it's getting to the point where I'm yelling at the screen. I'm screaming at the TV. So what the fuck's going on here? You know, what are they doing? So it's not sustainable. This defense is not sustainable, and it's defense as the whole team. The whole team. It's not just one guy. It's the whole team.
Yeah, because when you look at our team when they're on the court, right? Mitchell Robinson, he's a guarantee. Like that, his defense, he ain't slipping on his defense. Quentin Grimes, Dante DiVincenzo, our big 3 when it comes to Jalen, when it comes to RJ, and when it comes to Julius, they are the ones that are hurting us defensively. So it's going to come down to the front office to ask themselves, who are we going to keep out of the three of them, and who are we going to trade away? Off rip, we could say Jalen Brunson, he ain't going nowhere. Brunson ain't going nowhere. So it's going to come down to either RJ Barrett or Julius Randle. And us as a fan base, when we have these conversations, we have to ask ourselves, who do we want to keep and who do we want to go? I mean, who do we want to let go? Yeah. For me, it's going to come down to RJ Barrett, right? I know a lot of Knicks fans, they want to keep RJ Barrett, but when you look at the two of them, RJ is a lot younger, right? So teams may look at RJ with a bit more value than Julius Randle. Julius Randle is the older player, is the more seasoned vet, but Julius Randle, he's reached his ceiling. Ain't no more ceiling. He can't go higher than what he is right now. So if you're an executive from a team, you're going to look at RJ Barrett because he is 23 years old. So he has a lot more upside when it comes to his age. Phil, I'll throw it over to you to get your take on that one right there, bro. And I want to shout out my guy, Wiz, who just joined the conversation. Wiz, what it do? Salute, salute. 25 people in the building. So if you guys can, let's run the likes up on the stream. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, so before I hop into the RJ and Randle thing, what I do want to say about the defense is we also have to realize that even though Mitch is a great defender, especially on the interior, in this modern NBA, we get crucified whenever they have a stretch five. Whenever they have a big that can hit from three, Mitch is always a step behind because he's just not that guy that can get from the paint to the outside. Like, he's not that fast. He's not that agile. So it's hard because it's like when we're playing against teams that have modern centers or, centers that are just okay from the 3-point line, Mitch shines. But when you play the guys like the Karl Anthony Towns and the Porzingises and those kind of guys that can hit the three or drive, it leaves Mitch in this weird limbo of he guards you so tight, then you step back, you hit that three, or he guards you too, he gets crucified by those kind of players. So in those times,
up, right?
What happens?
His legs get crossed up.
Yeah, it's kind of like that scene in Bambi when Bambi first stands up for the first time and the legs cross and Bambi falls back down trying to learn how to walk. That's what happens with Mitch and stretch bigs that are agile and fast. And so not having a defensive minded power forward like Randle to be able to step in and help doesn't help us at all. But when it comes to those two, and people are going to say I'm a Randle hater, but I would move on from Randle just because I don't see us going further with Randle. You look at the game, what were most of people's gripes with what we saw? The fact that he was not looking for anybody. That open drive, where it was the fast lane with him and RJ Barrett. RJ's wide open, going like this the whole time. Randle, head down, trying to go against three guys. Even if RJ does not make that basket, he gets fouled and goes to the line. Instead, Randle turned it over. It wasn't even an opportunity to score on that play. Then you had that, few plays later, he's going down for another open drive down the other side of the court. Grimes wide open. Julius Randle's going up against three defenders, with no chance of a bucket. So for me, I have to move on from that. But like Hector said, it depends on the team that we're trying to trade. If it's a team that is in win now mode and they need another piece, they need another scorer, they're going to go with the Randle. They're going to go with the guy where they're like, hey, we just need a guy that can put 18 points up and bully his way into the paint. That's all we need.
A contender.
Exactly. A contender is going to go for Randle. If we're going for someone that's like, hey, we need to completely rebuild, they're going to obviously want RJ Barrett. So it just depends on where we wind up going on this. And I think that what happens in this gauntlet is going to be the determining factor. What we see happen in this gauntlet of games is going to tell this front office, yes, you need something new and trades need to happen now. And it's going to be dependent on who's available from what team. And something has to change. Something just
I want to highlight my guy Double A with the $4.99 super chat, and I'll throw it over to Eddie right after this. Double A says Randle should be traded. He will be asking for a max contract. Shari, not with his defense. Eddie, I want to throw it over to you. And Double A also said, fellas, let's support the channel with some super chats. Listen, support in whichever way you can. If you could throw some super chats, we appreciate that. If you can hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you can share us on your social media platforms as well. And if you could also just hit the share button. It helps out with the algorithm. You don't got to send it to somebody, but just hit the share button. Go ahead, Eddie.
Listen, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the fucking retweets. Do what you got to do. If you could give us $1 or 99 cents, fucking throw it to us. All right, come on, we need it. We're still growing, so please. All right, that's where I'll stop.
Go ahead, Eddie.
As far as the Randle and RJ situation, I'll say this: does one or the other have to necessarily go? I don't know. I don't know if we necessarily are at the point where we have to trade either one or the other. I don't know. I know you guys have been saying this forever. Here at the Brew Crew, you guys have been saying for the most part that this big three doesn't work. And I agree with you, Till. I really do agree with you. But you know me, I'm crazy and I go on and I think of trades all the time and who could go. At this point for me, I think the team. I don't think you should necessarily break this big three up. I don't think you need to break it up, because if you do, then you're talking about bringing in another guy. If you trade Randle or RJ, you're talking about bringing in a guy on one of those big contracts. A Towns, a Levine, and those type of guys. So, do we really want that? Do you guys really want that? I don't. I personally don't want Levine. I know, it's funny. Levine, to me, every single January, up until January, I don't want the guy. But then come January, Levine balls out of his mind, and I'm like, wow, this guy's really good. He's a really good player. But I don't know, man. I think the Knicks right now should just be looking at a small move. I think it's a DeRozan. I think it's a Bogdanovich. I think it's a Kuzma. I think those guys are not going to cost you the world, and you still got a future. Look, Randle, you have this, Randle and Brunson. We have a year and a half left with the both of them. That's it. That's all we got left of those guys. Because after that, they're up for new contracts and they're up for the extension. RJ, we still got for 3 more years. So at this point, bring in another guy, see what you got, and see how far this team could go. Again, I don't know what this team's max is, but up until January, I think this team is going to be tested. I think we might go on to 500. I don't think we're in a good position right now. That's all. I'll leave it there. I don't think we're in a
And according to the polls, I want to bring it up, right? When it comes to the chat is split on this one. Does one of them have to go? 78% is siding with you, Phil, when it comes to Julius Randle has to go, right? And RJ Barrett to start the season, he was great defensively, right? Coming back from that knee injury, I'm not sure if his knee is hampering on the defensive side of things. We've seen he doesn't have the same bounce like he had on the offensive side of the game. So I'm not sure if it's his knee that is holding him back. Shout out to Corey Lee that's in the chat that says, I'm not doing this poll. My guy Corey Lee, salute. But for me, if there was a way to get into the mind of Julius Randle and convince Randle to be more engaged on the defensive side of the ball and to not just stammer. When you bring up Mitchell Robinson, I would say Mitchell Robinson, when he goes out to the perimeter, he's stuck in between whether he should be out on the perimeter or running to the basket to get the rebound. Teams who have stretch fives, they're pulling their fives out of the paint, and it makes it harder for us to secure that defensive rebound. That's why teams like Milwaukee, they're getting second, third, fourth chance against us. Boston, second, third, fourth chance against us. But because without Mitchell Robinson in that paint, even if Mitchell Robinson doesn't get the rebound, his body is still down there. He is still boxing people out, and it makes it easier for Julius Randle to get a rebound. RJ Barrett to get a rebound, any of the guards. But when you take Mitchell Robinson out of that paint and you're solely relying on Julius Randle to box people out, our guards aren't that big. So we aren't going to get those defensive rebounds. So that's what's hurting us right now. Teams, they understand the game plan. Get Mitchell Robinson out of that paint so you could just eat up offensive rebounds against the Knicks.
Do you guys know? And I want to ask you guys this and the entire chat. What's the play here? Do we add to RJ Brunson and Barrett? Sorry, RJ Brunson and Randle, or do you trade one of them? Like honestly, like, do you want to just add to this team? Because if you add, you're not gonna give up your unprotected picks, which are the most valuable assets, right? Those are the most valuable assets. Do you just add to this group, or do we trade one? What do we do?
Yeah, Phil, before you go, I want to shout out a few super chats. My guy Delano Still Jr. says, here's a couple of fucking dollars from my guy Eddie. Shout out to DSJ right there. Wiz in the chat says, here's some money for the Bambi refs on the NBA pod. It's Rudolph time. Absolutely, Wiz. Salute. Go ahead, Phil.
Keep them coming. 99 cents, 50 cents, whatever you guys could do.
Shout out to our guy, Worldwide L.
We're a broke startup channel, and we need some cash. Seriously.
Oh, man. Anyway, as we're talking about our financial depravity, apparently. So I said this all summer. I wanted to be able to come in and say, hey, this 3 can work. That's what I wanted all summer. But I straight up said, by this time early in the season, we are going to see what players can elevate the team as a whole and who can't. And I've seen it's hard because I've seen elements of Randle where I'm like, oh, look, he's elevating quickly. He elevated, Mitch, and I'll come here and I'll praise him. And then another game comes and I'm like, oh, all right, well, here's amnesia, back to the, 1-on-30 Randle show. And that pisses me off, And so for me, I've seen games where RJ has disappointed when it comes to his play, but I haven't seen anything that RJ has disappointed me when it comes to actually putting in the effort or the camaraderie of trying to make his teammates better around him. And so if I have to pick one of them, I'm going to say Randle, because I solely don't see where our team is going. Like, I don't see what that fourth piece is, like at the end of the day, we have to trade somebody to get somebody. Like, we have to. So we can get a whole bunch of like role players to come in and get us through the season. But what does that do? Like, what does getting through the season do? Like, I want to see us get to the next place, in our fandom, to be able to watch and be like, all right, we're making improvements. Not, okay, what can we do at the deadline that's a Josh Hardish trade to get us back to the second round? Like, I don't want us to have to make another trade just to get back to the same place. If we're going to trade and we're going to do something, I want it to be because it gets us further than what we've previously done, not just get back to the same place over and over and over again.
But Phil, the East is better. The East is much better. So getting back to that second round is going to be much harder this year.
It is.
But Orlando's.
But that's what happens when we didn't do anything in the offseason. That's where not making moves in the offseason comes back and bites us. That makes us go, hey, we're good enough to do nothing. Well, we're good, but are we that good? We've beaten a lot of teams that we should beat, but we're having a really, really hard team with actual teams that are in contention, So
3-9 against teams that are 500 or better. That's the New York Knicks record this season. And that's counting the Clippers. I could take the Clippers out. We're 2-9. It's pathetic.
Yeah.
Shout out to my guy Ron from Still Knick Fans. Shout out to Ron and John, our family, real quick. Before we shift gears, right? I just wanted to add on to the conversation. For me, when it comes down to Julius and RJ, I see a perfect world where we can have both of them still be in the lineup with Jalen Brunson, right? But it's going to come down to Tom Tibido not having that job as a coach, just like Double A just put there. It should be Tibbs' neck. Tibbs should be on the line right now. It's either we get rid of out of RJ or Julius, or we scrap the coach, elevate Johnny Bryant, and go all the way in when it comes to this offense. If these are the players that we have, right? You go by who you have on your roster. And on our roster, we got offensive-minded players when it comes to Jalen, Julius, and RJ. So we have to have a coach who can unlock them offensively and allow them to cause havoc. We're not going to get that from Tom Tibido, who is a defensive mind coach who is still stuck in the 90s with his X's and O on the offensive side of things. We're not going to get that out of Tibbs. Johnny Bryant, like Corey Lee has been saying all freaking day, shout out to Corey Lee that's in the chat, but like Corey Lee says, we have to elevate Johnny Bryant. We have to let him take control of the wheels so he can unlock the offensive game out of our three big guys. How are we going to have three guys who are offensive first players, but we don't have the right coach to unlock them? And we got a defensive coach who is probably stammering them or holding them back, having them exert so much energy on the defensive side of things when they should be saving that energy for the offense.
Yeah, and I agree. You know, like our offense is hurting us. Like Eddie said earlier, the fact that we cannot create plays to actually make it where we can get good looks from three, like not stressed looks, not last resort looks from three in a 3-point minded NBA is crazy, because every three that they get, every two of them, we have 3 baskets that we have to make in the paint. Like every 2 shots of theirs is 3 of ours. It's always going to be a game of catch up. And the problem is we've been talking about this in some spaces, but even if Tibbs steps down, you know, moves on, doesn't get re-signed, there's a huge population of fans that think the only reason that would happen and him not get an extension is because there's still that general manager position that is available in the front office, and that Tibbs would then get promoted to that and would still have his hands kind of on the team. Would Johnny Bryant even have the freedom, you know, to do everything he really wants to do, you know, if the organization still has Tibbs that much involved? I don't know, but I do believe that we're held back with our offense. But I also think that unless that coach can come in and completely revamp the mindset that's been there for years of this ISO ball mindset, like that's a lot of untraining that we would then have to do with our team. Hey, I've given you guys all, you know, you three pretty much have been told to just go get your shots as much as you want. Now I'm going to retract all that, and this is what I want you guys to do. That's going to take some time too. That's going to take some time for them to fully be able to get those 3 guys to rewire their mindset to then be, oh, okay, now this is how we run our offense. That's not going to be a change of coach. Now we see the fruits of that labor. It's going to take some time to untrain the bad habits and then train with new habits.
Yeah, go ahead, Eddie.
Listen, this team is every team is predicating on hitting their shots, right? Again, you look up their field goal percentage. I was just looking it up right now. We're 26 in team field goal percentage. All right, that's bottom 5 in the league. That's horrible. I mean, I think you could bring in prime Phil Jackson or prime Red Auerbach, whoever, to come in and coach this team, and they're not going to make this team a top 5, field goal percentage shooting team. They're not. It's just who we are as a team. We're not a team that hits buckets. That's not who we are. So we're a team that has to defend. And if we don't defend, what the hell are we doing out here? You know what I'm saying? What are we doing? So I don't know, man. I don't know I think it's more of a roster problem than it is a coaching problem. Again, I know Tibbs isn't the greatest coach in the world, but you put this roster together, the team can't shoot, man. That's it. It's pretty simple. You can't shoot. And now that Mitch is out, we're not going to be able to rebound and get those second chance point opportunities. So I don't know, man. I think when the Knicks are in big trouble, bro.
And that's my question, Eddie.
It's like being stuck in limbo, right?
Yeah.
You're stuck. Like we've gotten to a place that, you know, when it comes to Tom Thibodeau in the front office, they've gotten us to a level of consistency. The big C word we've been using so far this season. But do you want to risk that on a gamble? Because like Jay Boogie just put in the chat, and shout out to Jay Boogie, the closer, my big brother, who says, my question is, what coaching do we know of Johnny Bryant doing anything? right? Yes, you could be a good assistant coach. Yes, you could be a phenomenal trainer. Players may like to train with you or talk to you when it comes to the offensive game. But what coaching has he done to prove that he deserves to take the job from Tom Thibodeau? And right now, it's a big gamble, because he could either be the next best thing or he could be David Fizdale 2.0, like my guy Savage NYC said in the chat. So it's literally a gamble. Do we want to gamble on getting rid of Tibbs and bringing in Johnny Bryant, or do you want to ride your old coach when it comes to Tom Thibodeau and just tweak some things here or there? But if you tweak some things here or there, it's going to come down to who's staying, who's going out of the big three: Jalen, Julius, and RJ. And when it comes down to it, it depends on the team that you're having the trade conversations for. Because like Phil pointed out, if it's a team that wants to rebuild from the ground up, they're going to want RJ Barrett. If it's a team that think that they're close to getting to that next level and they need an offensive punch, they're going to want Julius Randle. So it's just going to come down, do we keep our big three intact and we just add pieces around them? Or do we try to take a swing for the fences and go for another big piece by sacrificing one of our big three?
Yeah, and what I worry about, I was just going to say.
You go, Eddie. Go.
No, I was just going to say, listen, we change coaches now. What does that do? It usually gives you like a 5-game boost, right? In the beginning, you get a 5-game boost, you get a little momentum. But would Johnny Bryant have enough time to implement his offense at this point in the season? Like, he doesn't have a training camp. He doesn't have a bunch of preseason games. Like, is it too late for that? Like, that's my only thing with Tibbs. I'm not like somebody says I'm capping for Tibbs. I'm not. I'm just saying, if Johnny Bryant comes in here, does he have enough time to really rebuild this whole offense that can't shoot? That's all I'm saying. So I don't know. I'll throw it to
here's the problem. Here's the problem. We're talking in circles, because every answer we give comes back to the same two things. We're saying that,
more of a
what we need is an offensive-minded coach, okay? Yet we're saying we don't have shooters, okay? That we don't have people that are knocking down shots, okay? Then we're saying we have a defensive-minded coach, and that's the problem because he's not an offensive-minded coach. But then we're saying that our team doesn't know how to defend, especially from the three-point line. So it doesn't mean – it means that we are in a weird position either way, because if Tibbs is this defensive-minded coach only to a point, where it's, in the paint, we're good, but anything outside of the paint, we get crucified, then we're not really a defensive-minded team. Like, we're not. We're a defensive-minded team in Tibbs's old system. So there's an issue. And you look, we don't have fully defensive-minded players. You're saying we have 3 guys that are more so offensive-minded players in a defensive-focused but lackluster defensive team. So it's an issue both ways. So something has to completely change. Like, it either has to be, okay, we are changing the focus and we are going to be a more offensive-minded current offense with, plays and this, that, whatever. Yes, it's going to be some bump in the roads, but it's going to get us somewhere. Or we're going to have to lock down and say we're going to stay a defensive-minded team, but Tibbs has to elevate his defensive schemes to actually incorporate guarding the three-point line. And if we're going to do that, there has to be changes in our roster, because our roster doesn't have guys that show full effort on the defensive end, to be able to do that. So either way, there's got to be changes. So I don't see them firing Tibbs, though. I don't see that happening. Regardless of what needs to happen, I would see them letting go of players before they let go of Tibbs. I think if they let go of Tibbs, it's going to be in a professional, hey, let our friend go with respect at the end of a season, not we fired one of our good guys.
Well, and especially not in the middle of the season, unless the Knicks go 0-20 over the next 20 games. No changes like that is going to happen. Shout out to Blood of the Panther, the top moderator of all the moderators. He said subscribe and hit that like and notification bell. He is out of the country right now. Salute to my guy Blood of the Panther. Make sure you and your family are safe while you are out on vacazione. Go ahead, Eddie.
I'm just I lost my train of thought, but I'm just, listen, I totally lost it, but I remember what I was going to say. If you guys remember, last year at this time, got this almost the same exact time, Tibbs almost got fired. If you remember, going
at
into
the same around,
Same exact time. Going into that West Coast trip, I think we dropped a bunch of games in a row. And
we got embarrassed by the Mavericks.
Yes. Yep. And we won. I think we went out to the West Coast and we went 4-0. This time around, I don't see that happening. I don't. And, there's no savior coming around this year.
There's no Josh Hart on the market for us right now.
Exactly.
No, ain't no Josh Hart.
So the Knicks don't start winning and they don't get it together. Come January, man, we're going to be in big, big trouble.
Ooh, shout out to my guy Wiz in the chat who says that's not even talking in circles or a box. It's talking in a multi-dimensional hexagram or, an isosceles triangle. I always like to throw isosceles triangles out there. But no, I agree with the both of you guys. When it comes down to it, Tibbs is not going to be let go during the season. This is something that's going to happen in the off season. And like Phil said, it's going to be very political, going to wrap a bow around it. Our guy is going to retire. He's going to get elevated into the front office, yada, yada, yada. And then we'll see who the head coach is going to be, right? Kenny Atkinson was a guy that I was cheerleading for before Tibbs even got hired. I wanted Kenny Atkinson to be the head coach. He could be available. The rumors of Jay Wright, everybody's saying that Jay Wright is going to be one of the Knicks' potential head coaches as well. But the link to the open panel is in the chat. If you guys want to come up and join the conversation, you're more than welcome to. But just always remember, when it comes to YouTube and Twitter and Facebook terms of services, let's be respectful. Let's not try to say anything out of pocket. If someone is in the middle of giving their take, please let them finish so the same thing and the same time could be given to you so you can finish your take as well. So until someone come up here, let's talk about Quentin Grimes and the second unit, because in that first half of the Boston Celtic game, Quentin Grimes came in. He was knocking 3-point down with that second unit, and we all thought this is the game that Quentin Grimes is going to bounce back. And then in the second half, my man went flat like a tire. Phil, what's your thoughts?
Honestly, I'm not disappointed with what I saw from the Grimes game. Because honestly, I think it was when we were on the on with Recap on his show, and we were talking about what changes need to happen. Before a lot of people on Twitter started saying, oh yeah, we came up with that. It was all of us that were talking about, I think it's time that Grimes comes off the bench. We think that he would be, better off the bench. And that was before he was having his massive struggles. That's just, we thought that it would help him unlock. And I think that in a sense it did, because at the end of the day, you didn't see him taking a ton of shots previously. Like, even though he ended up with 13 points, he still took 10 shots that game. Like previously, we were only seeing 2 to 5 attempts from him. So 13 points was like a thing that was not going to even happen in any way, shape, or form. And you were seeing him move without the ball. You were seeing him cutting. You were seeing him do things that we know that Quentin Grimes can do if he gets, at least some options. I personally would like to see him continue to come off the bench because I think he's going to play better there. Like, he had 2 assists. He got a rebound. He shot 50%, 42% from 3. So those are the numbers that we want to see continue to come. And 13 points off a bench helps you out. Like, 13 points off the bench helps out as opposed to 2 points in the starting lineup. So the downside was we didn't see much from Dante DiVincenzo in that starting lineup. So it was like a trade for not much, on the upside. However, I think that's where roster construction is going to be hard with this starting lineup. I don't know many people that you can switch out into that shooting guard position right now that is going to thrive with R3. I just don't. Like, unless it's just a straight up sharpshooter, like that Klay Thompson 3 seasons ago type player, like that can just get it and shoot it at any point on the clock. I don't see us having somebody that's going to really, really thrive in that position.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And like Nick P says, the ball, it moves better with the bench. Go ahead, Eddie.
I could take or leave these guys, man. I could take or leave Grimes. I've seen what I had to see out of this guy. He is what he is, man. To me, in my head, I'm already putting this guy in a trade. I'm ready to move on from him. I don't think he's much more than what we're seeing. I think he needs to get an opportunity on another team. And, enough is enough. This whole roster, it pisses me off. I don't think they're that good. RJ Barrett's another guy. He's so inconsistent. These guys, I'm good, man.
I feel you, Eddie. And my guy JJ said in the chat, is it a coincidence Dante didn't get many shot attempts last night in that starting lineup? No, it ain't, JJ. It's definitely not a coincidence. I see we got one person backstage, Double A. Whenever you're ready to jump on, just give me a thumbs up and I'll bring you up, brother. I see you said, oh, my guy Double A is ready to go. So let's bring up Double A. Like I said, the most athletic 65-year-old that I ever met in my life. Double A, what it do, my guy? Salute.
How you doing, fellas?
Chilling, brother. Hope all is well. Great to see you. Health and happiness. Hope all is well with the fam, my guy.
Oh yeah. You guys on fire this morning, baby.
trying.
My boy Phil Caps back in the house.
Yes, sir.
Friday,
yes, sir.
baby. Missed you Friday.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Go ahead, Double A.
I think if we had a coach that was more creative on offense, it would make a big difference in our team. Easier shots. It's something to be said of getting, shots in your zone, in your comfort zone, versus the forcing the shots and stuff. And like I said, when you're isolation, it's pretty hard, and then, the ball is not getting spread around and stuff, because, supposedly shooting guard is supposed to be one of your offensive weapons. It's supposed to be, in the game of basketball, one of your scoring things. But, we're unorthodox because we have Jalen Brunson, running the point. He's the shoot first guard. But I just don't think Tibbs has it as far as, making moves that need to be made and just changing up. That Miami Heat series pretty much told me he's not the coach to take us to the championship, just because I felt he cost us a couple of games in that series just by not making adjustments, like attacking Jimmy Butler when Butler was down. I mean, that was, I don't understand what was going on with that. But, Phil is right. Eddie's right. Tibbs is not going nowhere during the season. It'll take a disaster for him to be, taken out. But I think it's a something that's needed. This is his fourth going on fifth season, and I just don't think he has it anymore. Not for today's NBA. You need great creativity. You need to unlock. And the biggest downside to Tibbs is he does not know how to get the best out of his players. I mean, you look at Obi and now Grimes. I mean, Grimes is a very talented ball player, but unfortunately, the role that we have for him is not suited for him, and pretty much I was surprised Tibbs took him out the starting lineup, though, but I guess, he's on the shit list now, so, you open up your mouth, but the worst thing you can say is that's not my, I don't like my spot, I don't like it, he should have kept quiet, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I see that. Go ahead, Phil.
One thing I'll say is I don't think he should have stayed quiet. I think where a lot of people are able to justify the things that a lot of us disagree with Tibbs is they will say things like, oh, you guys are creating narratives of players not being happy or there being a disgruntled locker room, but that's not true. Like, no one's ever said anything bad about Tibbs. And all of a sudden you have players start speaking up. Now that false narrative of Tibbs makes everybody happy is no longer true because you have players that are, coming out. And so things like, I don't know if Grimes going to the bench was really in retaliation, but timeline wise, it seems like retaliation, for him speaking out, because a lot of us wanted that for weeks, and it didn't happen. And so now that he spoke out, he's in the bench. So that actually is something that, okay, now we're seeing a pattern, of players disgruntled, they get benched. Now there's even more, okay, something's wrong with the whole player coach situation in certain scenarios. And now let's say this whole thing completely falls flat on its face, moving him to the bench. Well, he did it in retaliation. Now that's even more issues that people can say about, how Tibbs coached a situation. At the end of the day, though, what it's going to come down to is if we are able to look at the scenario where Tibido is talking about Jalen Brunson getting injured with whatever, less than a minute something in the game, while we're down way too many points to ever get back into the game. And they ask Tom Tibido, do you think that was a mistake? And he's like, nope, I don't have a problem with, me keeping him in.
Yeah. He had no remorse. No remorse.
If that alone does not get a guy fired, then we need to stop thinking that Thibodeau is going to get fired at the end of it. Because if that would have ended up being an actual injury where Jalen Brunson was out for, let's say, 3-4 weeks because of something like that, then our team would have been done for the season, completely done.
And so, Phil, and there's a Dolan aspect of it. I know we've been giving him a little bit of praise for staying out of things, but actually he's not, because he's really good friends with Julius Randle. That causes a problem, Okay, so now is Julius Randle untouchable, unimpeachable? Well, what's the deal? That puts pressure on the organization. Owner, best friends with one of the players. He's involved with that. And then, all this shebang with Toronto, the problem with Toronto, the front office, don't know what that's about, if it's just pettiness or what it is. But he's also friends with Tibbs, and I guess Tibbs went to Dolan, and he's the one that let Tibbs go ahead and do what he wanted to do as far as shortening the lineup and rotation and all that, which pretty much saved Tibbs' jobs. But what I'm saying is, that causes problems in the organization. And you ask yourself, is Dolan really staying out of it? Because, you can't be best friends with one of the players, and then, the player feels like he can't be, criticized. He can't be whatever, because, part of Julius' thing, man, is he really called for it on himself, because that thumbs down and all that. I mean, that really turned maybe some of the fans that were on the fence again on him really turned it over. Man. That was wrong.
It definitely created a bunch of different narratives or different point of views from the fan base. I want to shout out my guy Frankie V. This was a chat from earlier in the conversation, but Frankie V said Knicks are bottom 5 in field goal percentage. Their biggest problem is getting quality shots. It's too much iso ball, leading to low quality shots. They need to move the ball and get guys more open looks. 100%. And to your point, Double A, there's a lot of nepotism going on with the Knicks, right? Whether it's the front office emboldening Tom Tibido, whether it's Tom Tibido emboldening Julius Randle and not holding Julius Randle accountable sometimes here or there. You heard the Theo Penson podcast when Theo Penson was talking about it. Everybody had to play defense except for Julius Randle. That was the only player that didn't have to play defense. Yeah. And if you got former players, former teammates, former guys that were on your team coming out and saying this, it has to be true. Shout out to Ali's State of Mind. Appreciate you. As long as the expectation doesn't change with just making the playoffs, Tibbs is safe because he's going to get us to the playoffs. 100% can't disagree with that. What's your thoughts, Eddie?
Hey, listen, we're throwing Randall under the bus, and I get it. But let's throw RJ Barrett under the bus a little bit too. All right, he came out. He started the season great. Everybody's talking, oh, he's going to be an all-star. He's going to be and what has he done since? What has he done since he came back from the migraines? What has he done since he came back from the knees? He's done nothing.
Donuts.
And I'm sick of everybody. Oh, RJ's only 23 years old. He's got time to develop. No, we need you now. The Knicks season rides on this guy, whether you like it or not. It rides on RJ Barrett. If RJ Barrett takes it and levels up and gets takes a step forward, we take a step forward. The Knicks take a step forward. If he doesn't, I'm sorry, we're fucked. We're fucked. It is what it is. If the key to the season is RJ Barrett, if he continues to be inefficient and he looks like he has the past few games, we're done. We're cooked.
Yeah.
I get that goalpost. Like, because here's the thing is a lot of people were saying that when he came in, they said we need him to be putting up 20 to 25 a game, like consistently. Well, if you look, these games that we're calling bad games, even this last one, RJ Barrett had 23 points on, 56.3 shooting percentage, which was the second highest shooting percentage of our whole team. So, and when it comes to, we can't just look at the numbers because, Randle's numbers are similar, but, it was the 6 turnovers and the less percentage of shooting. So I think the problem is we're moving the goalpost. We're saying that RJ needed to come in and be that 20 to 25 point per night scorer. But now that other players that we've considered are 1 and 2 aren't having the greatest games, and he's still giving us those 20 to 25 points.
But he's not always giving it to us.
But the last few games he has. Like the last few games,
I think to Eddie's point, I don't want to speak for Eddie, right? But if you guys can't smack that like button, we got 36 people in the building, and Ebony is on the way to Queen to lay down the smackdown.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't want to speak to Eddie, but I think what Eddie is trying to get to is more of a consistency to RJ Barrett, right? Because like your point, Phil, yes, we asked him to come into the games and score that, and he has over the past 2 games. But you do know these past 2 games were the first time he scored 20 points before he sat out with any injury.
Yeah. But it's been a minute. I get what you're saying. I think to Eddie's point, I think more consistency. And yes, over the past 2 games, RJ has shown us that he has been getting and knocking out 20 points off of each game. But it's the first time he had back-to-back 20-point games before he sat down because of his injuries, because of whatever cold, whatever migraine, and whatever knee ailment that he was dealing with. This is the first time since the beginning of the season. Yeah, more beginning of the season than anything. For me, when it comes to RJ, it's not his offense. It has been his defense over the last several games, just like it's been Julius Randle's defense and just like it's been Jalen Brunson's defense. Because if you look at it, our defensive rating going into the Milwaukee game, we were number 1 when it comes to points allowed. But after the past 2 games, if you take those last 2 games and just measure it with the rest of the league, we're bottom 5. Bottom 5. If you just take the last 2 games and measure it with the rest of the league, we are bottom 5 over our last 2 games when it comes to defense.
Awful. And listen, you want to kill Randle. Randle, after that start, he's been consistent. I get the turnovers, but you got to take the good and the bad with Julius Randle. He's going to give you 25 points, but he's going to turn the ball over because he's
like 6 times.
Yeah, he's an idiot. That's just who he is. He's a clumsy
He gonna give you 25 points, but he gonna turn over that ball about 5 to 6 times and allow 18 points off of turnovers.
But you know what, Hector? If he gives me the 8 or 9 assists, I'm happy. I'll take it because it's at least equaling out. But when it comes to RJ, listen, it's time. It's time that he's got to step up his game. I need to see this consistency night after night. And not only on the offense, but on the defensive side too. Both. Yeah. We need to see that 2-way guy.
And I need Julius Randle, right? Because if you look at when our team struggled defensively, right, it's when Julius Randle doesn't switch with his teammates to guard the other player. Like if it's RJ and Julius Randle on a pick and roll, 9 times out of 10, Julius Randle is not going to switch, and he's not communicating to his teammates to run out there. That's how you get open 3-point shots. That's how you get shooters running late to close out on that 3-point shot, because Julius is not communicating on the defensive side of the ball. But we got the Queen in the building. Just let me get a thumbs up, Ebony, backstage, to let me know that you're ready to rock.
So while we wait for Ebony to get everything situated, this is where my question comes in for everybody. Because everybody on the panel and everyone in the chat have all said, wait, what about this guy dropping the ball? What about this guy not being able to do this, not doing this, not doing that? Yet so many people are like, let's stick with the 3. Like, we're all saying that there's numerous like problems with our three, and yet people are like, "Oh, Phil, we shouldn't be looking to trade anybody. Keep the three." I'm like, you all have given me more than enough reasons why I would convince myself to trade someone from the three. You're all saying that someone in that three needs to be fixed, and then no one wants to fix anything. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills right now. What's up, Ebony?
Let's throw it over to Ebony, Mad Nick fan. Ebony, good morning. Salute, salute, salute. She got the Yankee hat, so she's ready for business today. I'm sorry, Eddie. I know you're a Met fan. I do apologize. But Ebony, you just unmute yourself, and the floor is yours. Floor is yours, Ebony.
Good morning. How y'all doing? Or afternoon now, right?
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent.
I just came from outside. I rushed in here. I had to talk. I feel strong about this situation. It's been like this for a while. You know, I don't like to get too extreme. I have to have a big body of evidence to feel strongly about something. You know, but Tibido has a big body of work. And I've been following him because he's happened to coach one of my favorite players ever in Derrick Rose. So you know, I've seen the pattern in Chicago, then you see it in Minnesota. And even he knew about his pattern because when he was away, remember he had said that he was coaching against teams, going to different coaches, their games and trying to learn from them to see how the game has evolved and things of that nature, how they deal with players. So even he kind of knew that maybe his style is a little outdated, you know. So then he gets here and it seems like he kind of switches it up. He's playing who's hot. You're like, okay, maybe Tibbs has learned his lesson, right?
Yeah.
And then the next year goes right back to stubborn Tibbs. So, you know, I'm not the type to harp on the negative, but I'm not a Thibodeau fan. And I've always, you know, from the Play the Kids, when we was talking about PTK, you know, I was like, come on, can we see what we have? If these are people that's going to be our future, put them let them play, show us what they have. I think quickly starting behind Burks, that hindered him a little bit. Now we really don't know what we have, you know what I'm saying? Like if you would have put him in the fire, then you could get a real good look at him as maybe a starting point guard or how he handles situations. Now we're not so sure. And that's why I really believe they didn't pay quickly, you know, on top of his playoff performance. Maybe they're not sure just yet. But yeah, Tibbetts at this point, he has gotten everybody that he's wanted. These are his guys, right? These are the Thibodeau guys, his blue collar kind of guys that he wants. Now, if you can't keep your guys happy or productive in doing what and it's not even the offense right now. 122 points is nothing to be like to. It's defense. And who's supposed to be a defense mastermind?
Say it.
So it's going to have to get to a point of is it system or our players? And that's why I'm never like, don't trade anybody. It doesn't matter. As long as Thibodeau's the coach, we'll never really see what we have because he doesn't play towards players' strengths. He plays towards his strengths, and you fit in his system. So where we have I know we don't want to talk about him, but this is a great example where we have a Obi type player who's a pick and roll, energy, dunking, lob type threat. We had him in a Steve Novak role in the corner trying to hit 3-pointers. And they're saying he's not giving us anything. Of course he's not giving us anything. That is not his strengths.
Yep.
So to me, is it the players? Will we ever really get to see what the players are capable of? Because they're really playing within the system to stay on the court. Whatever they have to do to stay on the court. You know what I'm saying? So you're this defensive mastermind, but our defense against good teams is atrocious.
Yep.
Yeah. So what are you here for?
Yeah, 100%, Ebony. I can't disagree with everything that and I think the chat, Julian Blum, speak those facts, Ebony, 100%. Yep. Ebony is laying the smackdown, like I said. We got someone else backstage that I want to bring up, and I want to let them go before I throw it back over to Double A. But Organic Knicks Fanatic, just let me get a thumbs up to let me know that you're ready to come up, and I'll bring you up. Oh, we got that thumbs up right there. My guy, the Organic Knicks Fanatic. How are you doing, brother?
Salute, everybody. Salute panel, salute chat to everybody in there. Appreciate you, Hector, Phil, Eddie, Ebony, Double A. Salute y'all.
Salute, bro.
Appreciate y'all.
I appreciate you.
My
If you
people.
can, I think you got YouTube playing in the background. If you could
My
just
bad,
mute
my
the
bad.
audio
Yes,
from
sir.
YouTube. Nah, you're good. And I just want to let the channel people in the chat know Organic Knicks Fanatic, he has his own channel. I put the link in the chat right there. If you guys can, you know, we always love to show support to all the different content creators, whether that's Organic Knicks guy, whether that's Ron and John, Ebony as well, KOT. So if you guys can, make sure you guys subscribe to my guy Organic Knicks Fanatic. But the floor is yours, my guy. What's your thoughts?
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me on your show. You guys do great content, so I definitely appreciate you guys for having me here. I rock with all of you guys, Ebony,
I
all the time.
appreciate
Appreciate you, KLT. Salute to all the content creators. I mean, I'm more of a optimist in a sense, but I look at all aspects. So I look at the floor in all ways. I see what Thibodeau's doing, what he's not doing. Has he adjusted? Has other players adjusted? I look at, as we're saying, we got to look at the evidence, right? If you look at a crime scene, you got to see the evidence that portrays itself on there. And overall, and yes, there are always areas of opportunity, as I like to call them, not faults, but areas of opportunity. But overall, in 3 years, we've got to the playoffs. He's gotten players to a successful flow, which Julius Randle, two-time All-NBA All-Star. Does he have his area opportunities? Yes. The reason I think some of the areas that he has for turnovers is when we got Evan Fournier, we needed somebody to space the floor because we already know that Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, and also Julius, they clogged the paint. So we needed somebody to floor space. And that was the point of having Evan Fournier. He was a great spacer, terrible defender. And that was a role that Grimes was supposed to play this year, which you see some struggles. Towards the ending of last year when he took over, he was doing good. He was hitting his threes. We were finding him. He was trying to get into the room with the starters. And then this year, he can't hit anything. So that's where the issue is. He was supposed to space the floor for us. That's where you see Julius getting these turnovers. But Julius has been successful in finding players. He's averaging over 6 assists per game. He's leading us, not our point guard, in assists, which is a point of emphasis that we're talking about for Jalen Brunson. So I think it's been a fair evaluation on how our players are playing, or I should say not playing in the areas. So I think the switch with the other Nova Nick, Dante Defense Chenzo, I think it's going to work out. I think he's a good player. I think he's going to help the starting unit because he's more of a slasher, more of a playmaker. I think a better catch and shoot player. So for that role that we needed, Grimes he needs more touches. So I think Defense Chenzo would work better. He has the chemistry with his best friend, Jalen Brunson. I think it's going to work out as far as the switch. We're going to need a little time. Prior to this, we were number one defense prior to the Bucks and Boston. Those are two all-in teams that are in it to win it. They literally gamble their futures to win it now. So it's not a terrible thing that we've lost to them in that aspect. The fact that they're all in, and we've played, people are saying that we've lost to top tier teams, yet the top teams we played have been Boston and Milwaukee multiple times. We've played these teams each 2 times. So out of the 10 games that we're looking at, half of them were the same team. So that's what I got to say a little bit about that.
That's a great point right there. I just want to point out two chats right now. My guy Savage NYC said, "Is that JD Sports Talk with a gray beard?" Talking about Organic Nick fan right there. And DSJ also said, "Organic Nick fanatic looks like Jalen Brunson just came from the future to warn us about letting go Tom Tibido. Tom Tibido has to go." Double A, I want to throw it over to you and then swing it back over to Phil and Eddie. What's your take real quick off of what Ebony and Organic Nick Fanatic said? And then, like I said, throw it over to Phil and Eddie.
Well, Ebony hit it right on the spot. You know, we know Tibbs, who Tibbs is, and that's who he is. One of the other things he said he was going to change up, Ebony, was his stubbornness. You know, his willingness to work with the front office. And we've seen how that went. You know, the front office thought Cam was going to be the man, and he didn't play Cam because he didn't like Cam. He didn't like the fact that we forced Cam on him, so he didn't play Cam. You know, but, you know, it's still, brother, he hampers our offense. His non-creativeness, his ISO heavy ball, it hampers. That shouldn't be Grimes' job. You know, it should be anybody's job just to stand in the corner and wait, you know, and be the garbage man, clean up or whatever. We're just too ISO heavy. You know what I mean? We're very predictable. I mean, all you have to do in the closing seconds of the game is if Julius gets the ball, double team him, he's going to turn it over. That's a given, you know, or he's going to force a shot. you know. But Tibbs is Tibbs, bro. And, you know, now that a lot of the players, like Phil Cap said, now that a lot of the players are coming out of the woodwork and saying what he is, I mean, anybody can see how he is with Julius. I mean, part of Julius Monster is him. He created Julius Randle Monster. I can do what I got to do. I can play when I want to play because I'm going to get my minutes. I'm going to get my shots. It's nothing going to be effect. Nobody's going to criticize me. I mean, it's too many times, man, you don't see him running back, getting back on defense or staying and arguing with the referees. You know, this is not team ball. This is not a player that says, you know, I'm going all in for the championship. I'm going all in for my team. You know, he has done a lot better. But, bro, you're leading in assists and you're leading in turnovers. That kind of wipes it out, you know. You're giving me 6 assists, but you're giving me 6 turnovers. That doesn't do it. You're giving me 25 points a game, but you give up 25 points a game on defense. So what are you giving to the Knicks?
Yeah.
The one thing I think is R.J. Barrett is not a shooting guard, and he's not a small forward. That's why I think he should go. He really doesn't have a role on this team. He's not a shooting guard, and he's not a small forward. He's too slow and can't athletic enough to stay with these small forwards in the NBA, and he's too slow and too, can't guard a small, shooting guard. So I would think a perfect trade for both teams, because I was talking a lot of the time about equal trades, like the Kings and the Pacers, how they traded Halliburton for Sabonis and how that worked out for both teams. Those are the type of teams I'm looking for us to make. Forget the superstar or whatever. You're not going to sign them. There's nobody coming out. But, make some trades that have equal value for both teams, not this 2-second round for Obi type stuff. That doesn't work. But I think R.J. Barrett in a package for Spider Mitchell would be perfect. I think Barrett would fit in with Cleveland. Them having Darius Garland, they can, make him the point guard.
All right, so this is where I'm gonna cut you off. This is where I'm gonna cut you off. Because as much as I love Donovan Mitchell, I'm not trying to become the worst defensive team in the league. We already suck at defense, so we ain't going there. Here's one thing I want to say, Ebony.
Cavs aren't going there either.
I love you, Ebony, because I'm a loud Puerto Rican, and so when I voice my opinion on certain things,
very loud.
Yeah, very loud Puerto Rican. My wife says it all the time. She's like, "Why are you so loud?" I'm like, "You married me. I don't know what to tell you." But I'm a loud Puerto Rican. So a lot of times when I voice my opinion, it gets perceived as abrasive or whatever. And then you come in, you say the same kind of things, but you so sweet. You the kind of person you want to invite over to dinner. And people are like, "Yo, Ebony's spot on." So I'm able to come on and be like, "Hallelujah. Thank you." I'm going to go piggyback off what she said because now people will take it palatable. The key to what you said is we have a tendency in this organization to try and make a player fit into an already constructed system. That we just take a player, regardless of that player's strengths, regardless of what the player's good at, and we say, we want you to be that. And as someone who works in the photo film industry, I can't have a corporate photo or cinema movie shoot and say, all right, I need a lighting guy. I'm going to take this camera operator and make him my lighting guy. Because at the end of the day, we're all in cinema. So you should be able to do this because you at least know about the role. And then get upset when that cameraman doesn't thrive as a lighting director. Even though it's the same field, even though it's the same team, those are not the same positions. One person trained very hard to be this guy. And now I'm trying to make him into something else and then complaining that that person has not gotten what I wanted him to be. No, that's my job. I'm that constructed my team. I should have had that cameraman operating a camera because he's the best cameraman out there. But instead, I put him in a position to fail. And that's the problem is we put players into positions to fail. So when Josh Hart came out saying that he's trying to figure out his role, so many people crucified him, and they're like, what are you talking about? Your role hasn't changed. I don't know what NBA you guys are watching, but Josh Hart was not a power forward last season. He wasn't coming in as a 4. He wasn't being told, hey, all of a sudden, you're going to guard some of the biggest guys on the team. Go for it. hey, you're going to have this role. No, he thrived because he was a friggin' guard that was able to play off of certain players and grab rebounds and go into transition instead of him getting bullied by big guys. So roles changed. And that's why Josh Hart has not been Josh Hart this season, in my opinion, for a lot of the games that we've seen. So we have a huge flaw as the Knicks of seeing a player and saying, you will be what I want you to be, instead of saying, hey, I see your strong suits. I'm going to bring you into our team because you can fit a need. It doesn't work that way. So that's why we continue to see issue after issue. And I think that's what we've seen with RJ. In every season we've had RJ, we've wanted him to be a different player than he was that previous season. And that is crazy. Like,
and he never does it.
What?
And he never does it.
How could you do something in excellence if you don't even know what your actual role is?
I just want to let people know, right? You know, Phil goes hard for RJ because he named his dog Barrett. He didn't name his dog Randall. So that's why, you know, false disclaimer. That's why Phil goes so hard for RJ.
It's kind of true. Almost named him Obi.
No, it's not. It's not kind of true.
Traded.
It's not kind of true. It is true.
It is true. We didn't name him Obi because I knew Obi was going to be traded and I wasn't going to be able to look at my dog the same. So we named him Barrett, and now I have to worry about that as well.
Yeah. This is why he goes so hard for RJ. I just want to let everybody know that it's nothing personal. It's just his dog. His name is Barrett. Go ahead, Eddie.
The RJ. Oh, the guy's consistently inconsistent. I'm sick of defending this guy. I'm sick of defending all these guys. Seriously, I'm sick of talking about this guy. This roster sucks. We're mid. The guys on TNT, they're right. They're right. When they say we don't have the best player on the floor, they are right. With this team doesn't have a star. And until we get one, we're going to be sitting here talking about the same fucking bullshit because this team not up there with the best. We're not. We could be, RJ's got to do this, Randall's got to do this, Brunson. We can talk all this all we want. At the end of the day, we ain't elite. That's it, man. That is it.
Blood of the Panther says, take a shot every time Eddie says this roster sucks. Absolutely. And you guys will be hungover by the time the end of the show is over. But I want to throw it over to Ebony. And also, we got 40 people in the building. If you guys can't sack that like button, go ahead, Ebony.
I felt like I was in school. Me. But yeah, definitely. I was gonna come back again. It's only we at 21 games right now, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be extreme until maybe after this stretch we have a little bit, maybe about All-Star game to really be able to see what we have, because then you really can't turn it around after then, right?
You're not worried about this upcoming
not really, because we've had good spurts and we have bad spurts. I'm more worried because we have no offensive creativity and our defense is terrible right now. That's my worry right now, because I really don't know what these guys are capable of. You see other guys leave and they're able to be them and look differently, or look the way we thought they could have looked with us had they gotten a chance just to be set up for a chance. So I don't know if this is a regression for RJ or it's just a slump with Grimes. And until if it continues, then we can have some trade, move on, maybe kind of conversations. But again, I don't know, because he started out so well and he played FIBA well, and something the Canadian coach had said clicked with me, that RJ figured it out, and it might just be, again, he had migraines and couldn't get the legs and things of that nature. But the Canadian coach said that RJ does not need any plays ran for him to get his. I said, cha-ching, that's what we need, because RJ's not getting any plays ran for him with Brunson and Randle. You understand? He gets the leftovers, as we see. The last game, he played his game. He played his game, played at his pace, got his buckets, got to the line, and he still was benched for a little while longer than he should have, in my opinion.
I think RJ getting to the free throw line and knocking down his free throws at like an 83 to 85% clip has been the best part of his game so far this season. Go ahead, Ebony. Sorry for cutting you off.
That's progression. That's growth. And the fact, again, that he's playing at his own pace right now. So like you've seen just last game, it's starting to pick up again. With Grimes, I also want to have said, it does not matter who's in that 2 spot, as we can see. It does not, and I knew that before it happened. It does not matter who's in that 2 spot. So when they said let's start Dante, I was like, let's. Okay, I'm cool. I was against it at first, but let's do it so you can see it does not matter, because it is way too many times where Randle and Brunson are pulling up and nobody else touches the ball at all. Nobody. It's been times where they pulled up and it was nobody under the rim to get the rebound. Mitch had just crossed the half court line. That's a strength of ours, this offensive rebound. So that you're taking us out of 2 strengths now because you just pulled up without any offensive flow and anything. And then we expect the role players to bail them out when they're open. That is not, as a player, you can't. You need rhythm. You need to feel involved in the game. And especially if I'm doing all the dirty work.
Yep.
I'm locking up. I'm rebounding. I'm doing this. And I can't get a touch or two. It starts playing on your mental.
You know what's crazy, Ebony? Even when I used to play intramural middle school basketball, on my off seasons of like playing for school, even in the intramural league, we would get benched if we did something like come up and shoot before our center was even across the half court line. We would get benched and told that's not how you play basketball. And yet we're seeing it time and time again on a pro level that our guys can come up, shoot, 3-4 guys of the other team underneath the hoop. Our guys are still trying to make their way back, and all of a sudden the ball's moving back the other way. I don't get it. I don't get how we get away with this stuff.
One more thing too, Phil, like you said, mention it, and then we crucify our players for it. You can't. They're not being set up for the best situation. You get what I'm saying? They're not being. We got bad field goal percentage because we don't get good type of shots. I call it the Harden assist. I actually call Josh Hart the emergency exit, because that's when he gets the ball. When they have to, they need to help. I picked up the ball. I need you, Josh.
I got a video that I want to play, and then afterwards I want to throw it to Organic Nick Fran and get Double A in the conversation as well. But Ebony, I am crying with what you just said right now. He's the exit eject button. That's what it is. He's the eject button outside the plane. But this is a video.
When they don't hit those type of shots, we crucify them. But that's not a rhythm shot.
No, definitely is not a rhythm shot. But this is a video that I uploaded and I put on TikTok a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. But this is how Josh Hart looks when he's defending the bigger power forwards when we ask him to play that backup power forward. This is how he looks right now. Let me put it on the screen. This is how he looks. This is how he looks. He looks like Julian Newman trying to guard the sham god. I mean, a hezzy god. This is how Josh Hart looks out there trying to guard the bigger power forwards. And you're asking Josh Hart to do something he never done in his career. Josh Hart was never a backup power forward for an entire season. And you're asking a guy who's already 5 or 6 years, 7 years into the league to play a backup power forward role when he never did it. That right there is front office negligence at the highest degree, in my opinion. Organic Nick Fan, I want to throw it over to you. What's your thoughts on that real quick? And then throw it over to Double A, and let's circle back to Eddie and Phil.
Yeah. Josh Hart at the 5 is definitely tough. I think Sims should definitely be getting some burn time. With Tibbs, it's a trusting. He sees what Hart can do rebounding wise. He's the second best rebounder. It's extremely challenging for him to put him out there in the island all by himself. He's supposed to be getting help, but I don't agree with that. I think Sims should be getting some touches. For Grimes, leaving out on the island that we're talking about, I know we're going back and beat on him, but if you look at the game, there's been many times, I've called it on our show, that he gets plenty of open shots, that he's getting assists from Randle, and he's either chucking it away from somebody like he's allergic to the ball, or he's missing wide open shots. That's why he's not at the starting lineup. Because there's been plenty of times there's been wide open shots. I know you're going to get some. His are almost never contested. I want to say maybe 20% of his shots are contested. Most of them were open shots, wide, with a defender not even nowhere near him. These are literally practice shots. If you can't make a practice shot, you need to be where you are right now at the bench. And that's a fact. Yes, he can defend, which is really good, but a lot of his shots were wide open. So and that's where. And also Mitch, where Randle is finding him, and if it's below Mitch's waist, forget about it. It's a turnover. So Randle does have a fault that he's throwing a fastball. He's getting some coaching. He should be on the mound, throwing the ball at 120 miles per hour. Mitch can't handle that, and sometimes can't Grimes, and he throws it over Hart's head. So those turnovers are justified, but I think Grimes missing open shots. I mean, if we're talking about players just standing out, this is the NBA. Every team has someone that stands out in the corner. If you look at the Miami Heat, who has a system, they don't play to players' strength. The players play to the Heat system, and that's a fact. They don't say, hey, this is your skill set. We're going to let you do what you do. When LeBron was there, Wade and Bosh, they had Ray Allen, who was elite, who had a movie. They made a movie. He got game. Yeah. They made him stand at the corner and shoot the shot. He wasn't out there creating. You would stand there and shoot the ball at the three-point.
That wasn't him in his prime of his career. Like,
but that was the system, though. I'm just saying. I agree with you.
Yeah, he just pointed out the system.
In Miami, that was the system. That was his need. That was his role. Just like it is for Grimes. His role was to shoot the ball when you're at the top of three. Shoot. Don't go off the dribble. Yeah. Don't try to run. Don't try to do a crossover. Stand there and shoot the ball. And they won.
And then when you at that time of his career, though, like it wasn't prime, like Ray Allen,
but in Miami he never played that. In Miami, go ahead.
No. What I'm saying, I think to what he's saying is that was just a role in the system and he accepted that role. When you look at Josh Hart, right? When you look at Quentin Grimes, those players aren't a catch and shoot, knockdown sharpshooters. That's not their game. And that's what Tom Thibodeau and this system is asking them to be. They're not that. They are role players. They're players that they get into the role of the game if they get touches. They're rhythm players. If they're in a good rhythm, they're going to score. They're not, all right, I'm going to just put my lunch pail down, stand at the three-point line, and just be a sharpshooter. They're not Steve Novak. Those are not those type of players. They are rhythm players. They got to get into the rhythm of the game. Go ahead, Eddie. My fault. I know you wanted to add on.
And just to my bad. And that's why,
go ahead.
To go back to that, that's why Dante would work. Dante is a better catch and shoot player. He played that role in Golden State. Yep. He knew that he wasn't going to get the touches that Curry had, so his role that he adjusted was catch and shoot, which he is an elite at. He's probably over 40% from the three. He's a great slasher, which helps Julius Randle find the ball and get the defenders away from him. So I think this switch would actually help us. Go ahead, Eddie.
I was just going to say, hitting the outside shots isn't the Knicks' problem, okay? The Knicks, I think, are 7th or 8th in three-point shooting this season. If you look at the shot charts, the Knicks actually do better the further away they are from the basket, okay? That's where our strength is. We are second to last in field goal percentage within 5 feet of the hoop. That's where our main problem is. It's shots at the basket. Now, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? That's telling me that we're not getting easy shots. We can't make those easy shots. Second to last, fellas. That's behind, we're with Memphis, dead last in the league, within 5 feet of the basket. I don't know what to tell you, man. That's a problem. That's a major problem.
That is Double A. I'm gonna throw it over to you, but let's try to do our predictions, right? Let's get Double A, then Phil, Eddie, and then let's circle back to Ebony, Organic Knick fan. Let's look at our predictions because the Knicks do have a game tonight against the Toronto Raptors. 12-9, the Knicks. 9-13 are the Raptors. Also, we got 40 people in the building, and we are sitting on 37 likes. So if you guys can, smack that like button. Let's get up to 40 likes on the stream. Double A, I'm gonna throw it over to you. What's your predictions for tonight? What's your takeaways? What do you think the Knicks need to focus in to get this dub tonight? And then throw it over to Eddie, Phil, and then we're going to circle back with Ebony, Organic Knick fan, before we close it out. Go ahead, Double A.
Well, it's going to be up to Hartenstein if he steps up or not. We're going to need him to step up and provide, the offensive rebound and defense that Mitch does. Like Phil said, now we come into a position, okay, what can Sims do? Coming in and playing at,
Hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off. We just got breaking news. Building Blocks just put it in the chat. The Knicks say Mitchell Robinson will have left ankle surgery just this week, and he will be reevaluated in 8 to 10 weeks. Mitchell Robinson is going under the knife, and he will probably miss majority of the season. The Knicks PR department just put it out. Shams just put it out as well. Mitchell Robinson going under the knife. Jerry just text our group chat. We have a problem. Yes, we do.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh
Nah, he
man,
really needs to step up, huh?
Oh man, go ahead, Double A, and
But this is what Phil was saying. You know what I'm saying? When your players don't get no burn, you know, we don't know if they're ready for the role or not. You know, I agree with Organic Nick. I mean, Sims showed last year in those few games Obi was out backing up. You know, Sims filled in backing up for Julius, and he did a great job, I think, backing him up. I mean, he was averaging almost double-figure rebounds, playing less than 20 minutes a game. So I thought that alone should have earned him. But as far as tonight, man, the Raptors are a hard challenge as it is, you know, even with Mitch, you know, and now this really puts a hamper. For me, too, is where Jalen is at. You know, is he 100? I mean, they said he was walking around at some type of event at Villanova. So I don't know what that is out. But, you know, it's going to be a hard one. But it's a big one, man, you know, because this thing can unravel really fast, you know. We need to, like, turn it around the other way, you know, and keep beating the teams that we should beat. But this is not going to be an easy game. You know, we're going to be having to hit on all cylinders to win this game.
God, that is crushing blow. Phil, Eddie,
I feel bad for Mitch. I really feel bad for Mitch, man. He was having a great season. I feel so bad for him.
We're going to extend the show. We're not going to cut off at that. We're not going to cut off. We're going to keep talking about this Mitchell Robinson injury. Eddie, Phil, if you want to go right now, I'm just switching the title of the video on YouTube and then throw it over to Eddie and then Ebony and Organic as well to get him in on the conversation. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, this is sucky. Like, this guy had worked so hard this season. And, you know, there were many of us that were like, echoing the chance of wanting him to be considered for Defensive Player of the Year if he continued to have this kind of season. And like I said earlier, with as bad of a shooting team as we are, a lot of these games that we should have lost were won on the back of Mitchell Robinson's offensive rebounds. Without those extra shots, we would have lost a lot of these games. And I mean a lot of these games. Yes. And so when I look at this upcoming stretch, I was just talking about how this is like our gauntlet. This is the, you know, toughest part of our schedule. And to go into all of it without our main center is going to suck. Because, like I said earlier, you have Sims coming in now into a backup position after playing maybe 10 minutes this whole season in all the games combined. And now he has to come in, be our backup power forward for the hardest part of our season. And tonight is the perfect example. We have a team that, you know, we struggle with length. The Raptors have that against us. Then we're going and we have the Jazz. Then we have the Suns, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Nets, the Bucks twice, the Thunder, the Magic, and then we get the Pacers and the Timberwolves. Most of those teams, except for the Pacers, have someone that can pretty much make it a very hard time for Hartenstein, you know, as a starting center. And I just think it's going to be a problem. I think it's going to be a big, big problem. We're going to struggle. If we don't see guys like Randle help out in the paint, we're going to have a very, very rough few weeks. Tonight's going to definitely set the tone, I think, for what we're going to see over these next few weeks. Either we're going to come in and as a team play and fix, you know, the gap that we have now with Mitch, or we're going to see how big of a gap that is without Mitch, and it's going to continue to hurt us. It sucks.
Oh, man.
This couldn't have come at a worse time. This injury news couldn't have come at a worse time. I mean, this is the hardest part of our schedule. Literally from now until, you know, January 1st, we are playing good teams. We're playing tall teams. We're playing, you know, these teams that beat us with, you know, and rebounding. We're going up against the Bucks twice. This is a major problem with Mitch out. Now we have Ihart forced to be getting offensive rebounds. He can't do what Mitch does. As much as I like Ihart, good player, he's not capable of doing what Mitch does. Now, this makes me think, do you go out now, call Chicago and maybe say, hey, listen, what do you want for Drummond? I mean, just take him for, you know, get some minutes to help out. I know he's shot, but I don't know, man. We got to do something because we're in it. I have no words for this shit, man.
Drummond? Did you just say Andre Drummond, bro?
I'm just throwing names out Yeah, bro.
That's how desperate it is. I need the Knicks to call up DeMarcus Cousins to see what he's doing right now. Get DeMarcus Cousins back over here. This is pitiful. This is pitiful. Ebony, I want to throw it over. Ebony, walk us off of the ledge. Ebony, help us out.
Horrible.
I'm trying to walk myself off the ledge. Anybody who knows me knows how big of a fan I am of Mitch. So this hurts. Like I'm trying this. I'm trying to walk myself off the ledge. But what I can say is that we do have a pretty good center lineup. Even from Sims. When we signed iHeart, I was kind of upset, but I understood why. I was like, we could have a perfect center. You know, he gives something that Mitch doesn't do. So together, you know, the whole game, it's a perfect center. And it kind of showed that a little bit this season so far. But I thought Sims was a little bit, showed me shades of what Mitch showed me in the beginning of his career. Why I got to be such a big Mitch fan. You know, hustle, heart, just not much skill right now, but just playing off straight effort. And I think that one thing that we might plug that we've been having issues with is I believe Sims is our best perimeter big. So that stretch big part, I think that we might see a better effort or a better, you know, solution now that he has to play to it. So if I'm going to be positive about that, I say that, and I want to see if the game has slowed down for him. His thing is his IQ to me, just jumping at everything and things of that nature. Being a young player, has he grown from that? Has he learned? Has he been watching film? Has he added anything to his bag? And I guess we get to see that now. And before we start panic moding. So I think, I don't know. I'm trying. This changes the dynamic of our team a lot. Where, like we just mentioned, our field goal percentage is not the best right now. So not having the guy to give us extra possessions because of that, it hurts. And it hurts because we're not good individual defenders. We're a good team defender. You know what I'm saying? We play position of defense. We play aggressive because we know Mitch is behind us. I don't know how that looks, how our defense looks without him, to be honest. And it's not been looking very well lately.
Man, this is a blow. Organic Nick fanatic, bro. What's your take, bro?
All right, so Ebony got you to back up to the wall, but I'm gonna try to get you right off the ledge. I'm reaching out around the window.
Help me out,
come on,
please,
guys.
Bro.
Come on, guys.
Help.
All right, so first of all, Mitchell rebounding some, speedy recovery to you. The blessing is that you get to go spend time with your daughter for some time. So salute to you on that, speedy recovery. I actually think Sims should be the starter. I think Sims is very close to, and again, when I mean close, I'm not saying what Mitchell Robinson does at all. He's a big body. He's a big kid. He did well on starts when Mitchell missed out last year. He played very well. The starting team is very familiar with him. He's a great screener for pick and rolls. He can catch anything in the air. So I think it keeps more of the balance of what we have as our starting unit. So I think he would fill in the role better than iHeart. And iHeart flows very well with our bench team. So, you know, we need our mash out posse to just keep playing well. We need that bench unit to just score up and run it up. And I think it'll actually work. If you start Sims and then you have Dante DiVincenzo, I think he can find, he's a good playmaker. So I think DiVincenzo's a great playmaker, so he can help find Sims a little better. I think Sims would be the answer to start. It's going to take a little while, as Ebony was saying, for him to not jump at everything. That's the young part about it, to learn as a center. But I think he would be a better fill-in as a starter that keeps our units, both units, flowing almost to what we have. It's going to be hard to get back the number one steals leader, especially in our team, which is Mitch, and obviously rebounding.
And you gotta hope Pete doesn't get into foul trouble too. You know, that's a part of his game. He comes in, gets 2 fouls right off the bat. So
hey, he has 6 of them.
I think one thing that also may get better, because I've been killing us in our pick and roll defense. Maybe that looks a little better. Somebody that's not, you know, he's the better perimeter guard, so he's really aggressive on the wing area. I've noticed when he's in there, so maybe that helps too. I'm just trying to keep it positive.
And also Sims also has a good in post-present game. He has a little hook, a little floater, he has a little offensive game. So I think it's something that can help us out. He's a better pick and roll player, so we might see some good lobs from him. So I think obviously it's an adjustment that we got to make, but you got to look within yourselves and let your players develop before we start trying to draft anybody or make trades or picks. I think Sims would be someone that Tibbs trusts him, by the way. So Tibbs know what he can do. So now it's just going to be time to earn their minutes.
See, here's the thing. I think all those takes are great. And I actually think Sims can be a great player, if over time, like as he continues to grow. I think he can be not even a great player, but a good player. I think that's the problem, though, is that we don't look ahead. We don't look at what could be. Like, even if he was getting 5 minutes here and there throughout the season, when you know that you have a center in Mitchell Robinson who has had injury history, why do you wait till it all comes crashing down on that starter to let people in your roster get any time on the court to be prepared for a moment like this? Like, I just wish Sims would have gotten some play time throughout the season so that in this kind of moment, it wasn't, hey, I know you've played 10 minutes in all 20-something games, but here you go, starting lineup. Like, that's a huge difference. Now he's going to have to shake off all that rust, on the actual court, instead of being able to be like, okay, I'm at least somewhat prepared for this opportunity, because I know Knicks fans, as soon as Sims comes in and has a mediocre, showing because he's trying to get the dust off of him, it's, oh, this guy's a bum. Why, we're done. Sims is playing. Like, no, he's not a bum. He just hasn't had any opportunity to prepare for this kind of moment. Like, yes, he's been playing with the Westchester Knicks, but let's be real. We've seen people, in the G League, average 40 points a game and then come in and get like 2 points a game, in the NBA. We're not going to use that as like the goalpost of, what a player can be. So I think it's unfortunate that he hasn't given him an opportunity to be ready for this kind of moment, because I think he is the kind of player that could be if we set him up for success. So I hope he's able to like shake it off a little quicker and shock me, because I don't think it's his fault that, he might come in rusty.
For me, right? And first of all you guys, great takes. Ebony, AA, Organic Nick Fanatic, Eddie, Phil. As a Nick fan, I'm upset, right? I'm really upset and just disappointed right now, right? Because of the injury. As a human being, I wish Mitchell Robinson a speedy recovery. I wish the best for Mitchell Robinson. I hope he's able to get back. And if I'm trying to do the math in my head right now, 8 weeks is a little over than 2 months. By the time he gets back, it may be close to the trade deadline, if not past the trade deadline, because it said he's going to be reevaluated in 8 to 10 weeks. Not that he's going to be ready to go in 8 to 10 weeks. He's going to be reevaluated in 8 to 10 weeks. So whatever decisions that the front office needs to scramble and make, go and make those decisions. If you got to call up the Chicago Bulls and say, what do you want for DeMar and Vucevic, not Drummond, I don't want Drummond, but what do you want for DeMar and Vucevic now that Mitchell Robinson is going to be out for an expanded timeline now? So now you're going to have to get creative. And now teams are going to try to take advantage of you as a front office and try to get extra picks, knowing that you're in panic mode right now. So we're going to rely on the front office to try to navigate this scenario calm, cool, and collective, and not just jump at the first thing that is offered to them or try to give up too many extra picks when you don't have to do that. So like I said, as a fan, I'm disappointed, but as a human being, I hope Mitchell Robinson comes back, a speedy recovery. God bless him. Hope all is well with Mitch. Go ahead, Eddie.
The only problem with Vucevic is he's 33 years old and he's signed for, $18 million a year for the next 3 years.
He can't play defense.
Exactly. Yeah, I know he could stretch out the floor and everything, but do we really want to take that guy on, that kind of money at his age? No, thank you. So it's got to be a smaller move, but this couldn't have come at a worse time. I'm so upset. I wish Mitch the best. But man, this is a tough blow because this team can't hit shots. So if there ever was a time for this team to step up and start hitting shots, now's the time.
Let's get Nerlens Noel back. Ali's state of mind. Is it too late to start up the Nerlens Noel search engine? No, we got Nerlens out there. We got Taj Gibson out there. Shout out to my guy Aja Gibson, who is Todd Gibson, brother. Let's get the band back together. Call up Taj Gibson. Call up Joakim Noah. Let's get the band back together.
Not Joakim. Oh man.
Double A, you're muted. Double A, you're muted. Double A.
This goes back to what we were talking about earlier, being able to make adjustments, and should we be more of an offensive team than a defense team? Now, if Tibbs was the type that could make adjustments, one of his strong points in LA was he's an excellent passing center out of the post. He's an excellent passer. So, I mean, if you have to move things around and think more offensively now with what you got, I mean, you got to play to your strength. We know his strength ain't defense, but if he can open up some, shots for us, setting picks and throwing passes, maybe that'll do it. I mean, I'm with Organic Nick and both Ebony. I mean, Sims, in preseason, one of the things Tibbs was doing, he was giving Sims praises. I mean, I thought for sure Sims was going to be the backup power forward the way Tibbs was talking in preseason and giving him praises and stuff. But like Phil said, now you got a guy that's walking in blind, a situation where he doesn't play. And it takes time to get that NBA win, man. It's a difference. Running up and down a court on an NBA court than it is, running around a track or whatever. So it's going to take time for Jericho to build up that strength for the minutes, and I don't think we should make any big moves right now. We need to wait and see what's going on, what's happening, and prayers out to Mitch, man. This is rough.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a few people that jump backstage that I'm gonna bring them up momentarily. If you guys can, just turn your cameras on just so we can make sure that you're actual human beings and not no AI bots, because the AIs be crazy nowadays. The AIs be AIing. I don't know what to make of this new technology.
I'm gonna check out, fellas. That way it opens up a spot for somebody.
Double A, I appreciate you. You know, you always got a
fellas.
seat on the open panel. Much love, Double A. All right.
Thanks, Phil.
Appreciate you, brother. It's good talking to you. Message me so we can link up.
Oh man. Whew.
Depressing.
I'm speechless right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what to talk about. I was getting excited about this game in against the Raptors, but now with the Mitchell Robinson news, I honestly don't know what's going on. Benji, how you doing? Corey Lee, help me out, Corey Lee. Wiz, I'm a Sins hive, but this is a bit unnerving to get thrown like this with 2 minutes of playing time. Absolutely. He's played in 9 games. He's averaged 2.7 minutes per game. I don't know how you get 2.7, minutes per game when there's 60 seconds and a minute. I don't know how you get 2.7.
That's how.
The math
didn't carry
is
the
not
one.
mathing.
He didn't carry the one.
He definitely didn't carry the one. Brandon, let me get a thumbs up so I can bring you up. All right, Brandon, we got the thumbs up for Brandon. Brandon, my guy, how are you feeling with the breaking news? Mitchell Robinson to have surgery, B.
It sucks, man. I'm a big Mitch Robinson guy. I wanted to see him try to at least make a run for that, defensive player of the year. But 3 months out, that's not going to happen. So, I know it's next man up, but Sims, I like Sims. He's good, but he's not good enough, man. Like, we need to get somebody on the team now. I'm going to leave that to Eddie. He knows all the trades going, but, he knows the cap. But, yeah, we need to find somebody to fill in now because we're already a smaller team. Sims is good, but he's just athletic, but he's very unpolished. And if we're a team that, we're trying to make the playoffs, we're obviously trying to win games. Like, we need somebody more polished up there that can work with Isaiah Hartenstein and be that, tandem duo that we got right now with Mitch. They're not going to probably be as good as Mitch, but maybe we could find somebody with a little more offense in the meantime, even like just to help out a little bit, probably because they won't be as good defensively. So it's a big hit for us, man. It sucks. Mitch is like one of my favorite players on the team. So, and he's a good guy, man. So it sucks to see this happen to him, but yeah, we got to figure this out now. So
Brandon, question. Do you think that this gives any pushback or any attention to the flaws in Tibbs' system of giving people such little like time on the court to develop for moments like this. Like, it's not like Mitchell Robinson has never been injured, and this is like a freak accident that we didn't know that there was the potential of Mitch getting injured. It's pretty much happened every year. So do you think that this in any way, shape, or form brings the attention to people like, hey, the 9-man rotation works to a point, but in moments like this, when we're going into the worst part of our season and a guy has to get his first actual playing time, like, how does this look when it comes to that kind of part of our organization?
Yeah, I mean, I give Thibs, like, when Thibs does good things, I give people props when they do good things. But overall, we need a different coach. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty evident. I think everybody can see that. I mean, listen, maybe there's some people here that like Thibs. I don't know. But I think that if we're going to go in a direction of where we're actually trying to win something one day, like, thanks for setting us up, but now we need the next guy. You know what I mean? And when it comes to the development, like, there's so many times where either we're getting crushed and it's like we know the game's over, or we're up by a lot with a lot of time left. Like, why aren't you throwing those guys in the game? Like, let them play. You know what I mean? We see what you got sometimes. Like, you don't know what's on the bench sometimes. Like Sims, like you're saying, like, okay, we know he's not going to be a superstar, but like, he needs to be prepared for times like this. And this is your first minutes of the season. You're coming in 20 games into the season or whatever it is. And now you're trying to get adjusted to all the players on the court. Now you're trying to find chemistry. Like, it's going to be a big adjustment. We got Milwaukee, I think, coming up next. We got some big games coming up next against some big teams. Like, good luck, bro. Like, it's not going to be easy. Like, they are going to take advantage of him at every moment they can because he hasn't played. So it's going to be tough. And yeah, you're right though. Thibs needs to be developing, especially like those end of the bench guys whenever he has the opportunity. Obviously, you're not going to play them in big moments, but when their moments are available for them to play them. But he just doesn't do it. He just rides with these guys. He'll play Jalen Brunson 48 minutes in a game that he shouldn't even be out there for 30 minutes. So
right, yeah, and another thing too, like we're talking about making a move. A lot of teams, we don't know what they are right now. We don't know who's the worst of the worst yet. We don't know that because there's only a few teams that are really, really terrible. Detroit and Washington right off the rip, and Utah sucks too. But after that, we don't know who's going to be ready to blow things up. So, and then there's the case of you can't trade a lot of guys that signed over the summer. They can't be traded till like January 15th or the 1st of February. So we literally have to go the next 5-6 weeks with what we have. That's it. It's next man up. It's do or die. And we ride or die with what we have on this team right now.
Yeah. I just want to shout out to the fellas that just joined us right now. My guy Corey Lee's in the building. Salute. Even though you got a Mets fan hat on, Corey, I still love you, Unc. It's all love. And shout out to my guy
bro,
Ray
this is
as
a Queens
well.
thing. It's a Queens thing.
Oh, okay. Queens get the money. Heard you, baby. Far Rock all day.
All
Ray's
day.
in the building. Ray, salute. Ray, I want to throw it over to you, then throw it over to Corey Lee to get your takes on the breaking news and walk us Knicks fans off the ledge. Ray, help us out, my guy.
Well, breaking news in regards to what? Mitchell Robinson's
Yep.
Oh, okay. You didn't know Mitchell Robinson's going under the knife. He's going to be out for 8 to 10 weeks.
Oh no, you're getting a live reaction.
Oh yeah, it just broke a few minutes ago, Ray.
Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson will be reevaluated in 8 to 10 weeks. He is going to be having ankle surgery, and we are in a tight spot right now, Ray. So live reaction for Ray. I just marked that so we can repost it on socials. Go ahead, Ray.
Oh my gosh, you put me on the spot here. Well, I could recall last year when he went down for a bit there, Hartenstein really stepped up and he did a very admirable job. So, and to a degree, he actually works better with some of the lineups that we have. I think he works well with the starters. He works well with the bench. I think he's a lot more versatile than Mitch. So I think we'll be okay, but at the same time, we still struggled initially to kind of find our footing. Hartenstein wasn't necessarily playing his best basketball. Like, he had to work through a rut. So I think we know what we're getting with him. I think the concern really is Sims. Sims has a ton of upside, a ton of athleticism. He doesn't necessarily seem like he's always in the best position for rebounds whenever, and I don't think that he plays necessarily as physical as he appears. So, I mean, those are some concerns I have about him. I think he's another limited player, or at least he hasn't proven on the basketball court that he's able to do certain things consistently, I should say, at least. So I'm a little bit worried. I wish we had like a Taj Gibson kind of player on our roster. I actually wanted us to go after him and just to kind of bring him home with the whole Tibbsian thing, even though I want Tibbs out of here. That's a completely different story. It would be nice to have a player like that who's kind of played under the coach. He can play a little bit of center and also he could stretch you out a little bit, So it's going to be an interesting stretch for sure. I'm interested in seeing how Sims responds and just what the rotations look like moving forward.
Corey Lee, I'm gonna throw it over to you to get your take, and I think I my hat says it all. Coño for all of us Knicks fans right now going through this injury. Go ahead, Corey Lee.
I'm gonna say this. Number one, my heart goes out to Mitch because now everybody tells me I'm an RJ Barrett fan because I'm always fighting for RJ, but actually it is Mitch because he's one of the first Knicks that's been here. Well, he's been hit the Knicks the longest. I'm gonna say this. All right, I'm not worried about
Sims.
My guy Sims. Yes, excuse me. I'm trying to think of it. I'm not worried about my guy Sims stepping in because he's gonna step into that starting role, and that's how he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it just like he did it last season. He's gonna start him, bring Hartenstein in, keep the rotation is the same as it's been because they both been splitting time for 20 minutes. Just about 20 minutes apiece, maybe more so that Hartenstein closes out the game, depending on the foul situations. Now, I just think that Sims is more of a carbon copy or a younger version of what Mitch was. So I'm not really worried about that. My biggest issue now is what are we going to do about because the glaring issue still is the power forward, the backup power forward situation. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, and I hate to keep reel us back to this is all Tibbs' fault because Tibbs took advantage of, I would say, a novice front office where he knew the inner workings of the front office, and he got all the pieces. He purged out everything that they put in there for him to work with, and he pushed out. You know what I'm saying? He purged everything that he from the work out and brought him what he wanted. Now the chef has what he wants to cook, and he's for you know what I'm saying, for lack of a better term, he's fucking up the soup. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The gumbo ain't gumbo no more. You know what I'm saying?
Gumbo's not gumbo.
It's not gumbo no more.
He's not ratatouille.
This is some crap right now. And you know what I'm saying? The whole fact that Leon Rose just did not push him or did not push to get a backup power forward is glaring. You know what I'm saying? And you showed that earlier. So right now, that's the thing that I'm more concerned about more than anything. And also, too, one more thing is that the fact that nobody is speaking about the biggest issue that we have right now. Our point guard is not a point guard. He's a miniature two guard who is not making no one better around him.
Come on.
That's the problem.
Come on.
That's the problem. No, it's not. Come on.
He's the least of our problems.
No, it is the problem because you know why our power forward is our leading assist man and our point guard is out here tap dancing, shooting like he's 6'5".
I agree. He should get more assists. I agree with that, but
thank you. But that means he's not making no one around him better. That makes but Grimes, people like him, getting him shots or trying to help him make it better. That's why he's the scapegoat for which we are using for this year. You understand what I'm saying? So that answers all our problems right there. It's the nepotism and the lack of accountability. You understand what I'm saying? From the front office all the way down. Now I say this: we go where we got to go with this team, and God will us to go as far as we can. But at the end of this year, major changes need to happen because this cannot keep going on every year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, we're gonna get a 6'3" athletic center. You understand what I'm saying? Because it fits what Tibbs wants. You understand what I'm saying? It's time to
Don't
shake
worry,
it up,
Corey Lee.
man.
Muggsy Bogues is about to come out of retirement to be our backup power forward, Corey. You don't got to worry about
Exactly.
Nate Robinson's going to be our center of the future. Don't worry about it, Corey Lee. But I want to circle things around. I want to throw it over to Phil and Eddie and then go one more time around the panel so we can, before we wrap things up to get out of here. Philip, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Listen, I feel like
take, by the way, Corey Lee. I didn't want to go that make that great take, my brother.
You good, bro.
I feel like if we wanted to, we can pick and choose flaws of every single player. You know, at the end of the day, yes, would I like to see Jalen Brunson have some more assists? Of course, you know, but you also have to see, we compare the Jalen Brunsons to the Tyrese Halliburtons and go, well, Tyrese gets like 15 assists. Well, of course, look at how they run their offense. Their whole offense is run up and down, run fast, get as many passes to each other as possible, catch people off guard to get that bucket. We don't run that at all, you know? So at the end of the day, like, I can see those flaws, but it all comes down to one thing for me. And that's the lack of actual structure and direction of this offense. Like, at the end of the day, the offense is ran by a coach who says, and has always, if you look at the history of Tibido has always run his offense as, all right, who are my best two players? All right, I want you guys to score. And if you can't score, give it to somebody else. That's always been the way that our offense is going to run, as long as that's the way that our offense is coached to run. So I'm not going to crucify the guy and be like, oh, he's an insufficient guard. Yes, he plays more like a shooting guard. Yes. But a lot of those games, we have no chance without the buckets that Jalen Brunson has put up. Because at the end of the day, he is our best shooter right now as well. Like, if you look at our percentages at every point when it comes to driving or shooting the three, he is our best shooter. So at the end of the day, like, who do I want Jalen Brunson to pass it to? Himself. Like, if there was another Jalen Brunson, I would want Jalen Brunson to pass it to Jalen Brunson. But unfortunately, we don't have that. So it is what it is. What up?
I got another update. I got another injury update. Emmanuel Quickly was just added to the injury report as questionable for tonight's game. So when the going gets rough and the shit keeps on shitting, Emmanuel Quickly is questionable for tonight. I swear to God, which one of you guys been stepping on cracks, breaking people's money backs? Who did it? All right, who's breaking glass? Who's dropping the salt? Okay, which one of you guys did it? Because I know it wasn't me. Go ahead, Eddie.
Look, man, the Knicks so far this season, they've been very lucky in the injury department. You know, we've had, little spurts of not having guys for short periods of time. Now, we got hit with our first biggest blow of the season, right? We got hit with, having an injury to basically one of the biggest parts of our offense is Mitchell Robinson. This is a guy who gets second chance opportunities. He's a reason why we win games. This Knicks team, now we have to take a different approach to this, looking at this offense. So it's up to other guys now. It's more on, RJ Barrett. It falls more on Julius Randle. It falls more on Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, IQ. All these guys now have to start hitting shots. Guys need to step up now, all right? Because we're not going to be able to get those second chance point opportunities. We're not getting them anymore. We might, maybe a little bit with Sims, but for the most part, we're probably going to start getting out rebounded. So now it's time for these other guys to step their game up, start hitting shots, all right? We're almost worse in a league within 5 feet of the basket. Time to get those numbers up. Time to step up. And if we don't hit those shots, get to the line. Hit free throws, because we're horrible at hitting free throws. So little things like that we could do on our own. That's not hard. It's not hard hitting free throws. Those are very little things you can do to improve your game. So we got to step up as a whole team, and everybody's got to step up now. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I got somebody backstage that I want to bring up. My guy State. Let me know if you're ready. Turn your camera on. Let me get a thumbs up, State, and I'll bring you back up. I'll bring you up to the panel to join the conversation. But Ebony, let us. Are we gonna get Jacob Toppin tonight? Well, it's Evan Fournier playing? Who's playing tonight, Ebony?
I don't know who's playing. I don't know what's going on right now. I feel like I'm in a episode of Friday the 13th. What's going on? Like, what is going on? I have no. I'm kind of a little speechless. I had like a little thing I was gonna say before that. It got razzled me a little bit again. Geez, Deuce Squad. You know, I'm PTK. I was Queen of Screaming, play them babies. So Deuce Squad, here we go. Step up. I guess we're gonna see some Deuce minutes. I like Deuce because every time he comes in, he does impact the game. So
Great shooter,
get
Evan. He's a
to,
great shooter.
yeah,
Yeah.
tremendous shooter in the G League, that is. But hopefully that transitions to us. I get you, Eddie. I know you're being sarcastic. But hopefully that transitions to the game. You know, it's two sides of the court. So if he's off, hopefully he's locking up on the other side like he does. But I don't know. The flow game, we just have to trust each other. We have to trust each other. Definitely like now. With people we missing pieces. No, it can't be us jacking up shots without anybody touching the ball. That can't happen because one we have to get others involved now, because if you're the opposing team, wouldn't you be cool with two people trying to go against your whole team?
Of course.
Wouldn't you be all right with that? You be like, all right, as long as we don't let anybody else join this party, we allow Randle to look like an all-star and Brunson. Go ahead, do your thing. But you guys, you're not joining the party.
Hey.
That is never going to cut it. That is
Hey,
never going to cut it. Ever.
Everybody might get their wish. I don't mean to cut you off. Everybody might get their wish now. And Tibbs might get fired. He might get fired with this going on, right? It's serious.
Ooh,
he might get fired.
Yeah,
Seriously.
because you had Jalen sprained his ankle when it was already a double-digit deficit. Mitchell Robinson, who got reevaluated in the halftime against Boston, and he still played him in the second half. And Emmanuel Quickly and Julian Blum said, "Update: Quickly broke his braids while skipping and will be reevaluated." Organic Knicks fanatic, I'm gonna throw it over to you, my guy. What's your thoughts? And let's circle over to Brandon, Ray, and I got State backstage. State, let me just get a thumbs up. Turn your camera on. You can turn it back off, and I'll bring you up. I just want to make sure you're a real person and not a bot. Go ahead, Organic.
All right, last take for me, and then I'll jump out and get space to the family out there. Appreciate it. And salute to everybody just joined. Salute to y'all. Great takes from you guys. I'm old school, as you can see. Maybe the gray hairs gave it away a little bit, but I'm back to the old, like the 90s Knicks. We didn't have the best squad, but we supported our squad. There was Jordans, Drexlers, there was everybody else, but we rooted for our team. We need to get back to that old Polo hip hop group, Love and Loyalty, 2 L's up, and just support whoever you got that's on the team. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta, support the squad that you got. I think the young fellas are gonna do good. They do get practice, so it's not like they don't play against each other. I know they're not getting much minutes on the team, but Sims definitely gets some practice time. Tibbs knows what he can do. Deuce and Grimes actually have the best positive minus when they play together. So Deuce and Grimes from the bench is going to be really good. I still got us with a W. I'm gonna throw it out there. I still got us with a W, close, maybe within 3 to 4 points. But I got us with a dub. I think Jericho should start. Will he? I don't know. But I think we're gonna do good. As Ebony was saying, start the young kids. Now's the time to shine. Now's the minutes they're gonna get. It's gonna be on a tough squad, a tough run away. So it's gonna give them some time to shine and some time to play. And this season is what we were looking for. The reason we haven't made no moves or anything, this is a year to evaluate what we have, from Grimes to Quickly. That's why we made him a restricted agent. They picked up Grimes a 5-year contract. They extended Sims. So they're seeing what we have, who fits, who's gonna run. And now's their chance. Now they're gonna get the true evaluation of what do these players do, what do they bring to us, and who stays and who fits. And then we make, at the end of the season, we're going to be looking for the moves of who we want to move, whether it's OG. I think a Jonathan Isaac on the low would be something that someone we could pick up. But overall, I like who we have. I like us to just run what we brung. We're on some Mob Deep, no shook ones here. And that's
it.
No doubt.
Love that, Organic Knicks fanatic. Like I said, folks, I put his channel in the chat. If you guys can, please subscribe to the Knicks fanatic. Subscribe to the Nick of Time show. Make sure you guys support all the different content creators that are out there. Brandon, I want to throw it over to you to get your final take before we get ready to wrap things up. Oh, where Ray go? Ray, just join us if your phone having connection issues, and then throw it over to Corey Lee, and then Ray if he comes back. Go ahead, B. Go ahead, B.
Yeah, man. Just to kind of circle back on that Jalen Brunson thing. I mean, when it comes to the assist numbers, like I don't get huge on that, just because like if you look at other point guards like that have won even championships, like Jamal Murray, and I'm not saying Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry, but if you look at their assist numbers, it's like about 6 assists a game that they're averaging. Jalen Brunson's not far off from that. He's between 5 and 6 assists a game. Like, as long as you have and we need to work on this system, obviously. It's not we're doing well under Thibs, but the assist can come from anywhere. If it's coming from Julius Randle, if it's coming from RJ, as long as people are moving the ball, that's what matters more to me. Like, it doesn't have to be that Jalen Brunson is the guy who passed it to you and then you scored. Like, if it goes to Randle first and he kicks it out, like, to me, that's fine. Like, I just want to score. You know what I mean? So, and back to Phil's point, I wish Jalen Brunson could pass it to Jalen Brunson, but, you know, it's not always how it works. But you know, at the end of the day, like, I think what it's really going to come down to, man, I want to see RJ step up, man. That's what I really want to see now. You know, we have somebody that's a big, like Eddie was saying, Mitch is a huge part of our offense because we miss shots, bro. Like, we're not the best shooting team in the league, but Mitch gives us those second opportunities over and over and over again. We're not going to have nearly as many of those anymore. I want to see RJ step up. I want to see him take over some games. I want to see that consistently. Because just in general, if we're going to see this team really go anywhere, RJ's got to really be that. He's got to turn into that guy for us. So let's see what happens, man. You know, sometimes one guy goes down, it gives the opportunity for other players to step up and show what they're made of. So let's see what happens.
I want to throw it over to Corey Lee, the #1 RJ stan in the world. Corey Lee, let them know what's your thoughts, fam.
I'm gonna tell you right now. My final thoughts. You killed me with that one. My thoughts on tonight. Rolling tonight. I'm trying to keep the positive thoughts. And then I'm gonna give us a positive opinion that I think we can beat this team. It's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be a knock down, drag out fight. It's gonna be. We're gonna need free throws in order to win this game. And you're right, Brandon. RJ is gonna have to step up. It's gonna have to be him tonight, you know, and he's gonna have to find a way to get these other cats involved as well as especially Sims. Sims, like, you can't put out no donuts tonight. Sims, we need at least 8 points from you, and at least 8 to 9 rebounds, and as well as Hartenstein. Those people gonna have to be the ones to step up, and I don't know, maybe if my guy Deuce can at least knock down 2 3-pointers, we might pull this one out. You know what I'm saying? We might pull this one out. I see you, Eddie, over there in the corner, just like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know about Deuce getting 3 pointers. I just out there.
I see you over there at BET Bets, and you hedging your bets tonight. You know what I'm saying? So I know where you're going with your money tonight. And so that's just that. But Jesus Christ, I don't know what to say. I'm just like, yo, you just hit me with a ton of bricks, and I just don't know what to do. Talking about kicking somebody when they're down. Damn.
Yeah. It's been an emotional roller coaster for the past 30 minutes for us. Ray, I want to throw it over to you to get your takes as well. And also appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Smack that like button. We got 45 people in the building, and we are sitting on 43 likes. So let's run it up. Let's try to get it to 50 likes on the stream. Go ahead, my brother Ray.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, all good.
Okay. Oh, wow. I thought I was muted this whole time. All right, cool. Well, the Emmanuel Quickly thing is a bit of a surprise. It's another monkey wrench, and I think even in my previous reply, I went straight to Hartenstein. I didn't really even process the whole thing about Mitch going down. I never got a chance to really say what I think he truly means to this team. You know, when Mitch is in the game, it's a no-fly zone down in the block, man. He's so disruptive. You know, there's some teams like the Heat who have figured out ways to scheme him out of the game, and he's having to learn how to navigate that kind of a situation. But other than that, man, generally speaking, he's very effective. And like Eddie says, man, he's a big part of our offense via offensive rebounding. So we're going to be missing that a ton. You know, he covers up a lot of mistakes on defense as well too. And another thing too, that he's taken his defense to another level by having active hands now in the passing lanes, which is like noticeable. You know, he's intercepting a lot of passes. He's deflecting a lot of different passes. So he's taking his defensive presence up to a different level. So, you know, before I even I never got a chance to. Well, I had a chance to say that, but I was so shocked that I didn't. So shout out to Mitch, man. Wishing him all the best in his recovery. He means a lot to this team. But at the end of the day, people say that we have one of the deepest rosters in the league. So now we're going to have to show it. Now our young Bulls going to have to come up off the bench, and they're going to have to be ready to do what they got to do. So I'm excited. I mean, with Quick possibly out, I mean, we have one of the deepest guard stables in the league as well too. We may not necessarily have the complementary top end talent to go along with Jalen Brunson and with Julius Randle and with RJ Barrett, but we do have a lot of different bodies who can score, who can defend as well too. So we're going to need every bit of that, especially if Quick is going to be out. So excited about tonight. I want us to win this game. I think we'll win this game, but at the end of the day, I don't think much changes with this team if Tom Tibido is still the coach. All right. So I got called out for not speaking out on that as much. State, who didn't come into the chat. He called me out. I was just like, oh man, like I really do feel that way. I just don't tweet about it. I just don't talk much about it because I've accepted that he's going to be a part of the Knicks moving forward. Like I just don't think he's going anywhere. But go Knicks.
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, appreciate you fellas for jumping on to the open panel, and the Queen Ebony as well. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you want, make sure you guys put in the comment section your Twitter handles. That way everybody in the chat can follow you guys on Twitter. Definitely appreciate you guys. Corey Lee, Ray, Brandon, Ebony. I'm gonna let you guys go and get ready to wrap things up for the rest of the show. But I definitely appreciate you guys joining us today. It's much love like always. Let me do this right now because our producer is not here. So let me try to do what he does. There we go. I was able to press the buttons. Look, the buttons are pressed. But no, listen, for me, when it comes down to it, like I said, as a Knicks fan, super upset. I really wanted to see Mitchell Robinson get that nod for Defensive Player of the Year, be in the conversations for that all-team defense. But as a human being, I got to take my fandom and put it to the side. I wish Mitchell Robinson a speedy recovery. Hopefully he's able to come back and be effective towards the end of the season. If we're closing to the playoffs or inching towards the playoffs, hopefully Mitchell Robinson can come back. Phil, I want to throw it over to you, 80, to get your last take. Also, we are at 1,860 subscribers. We are 140 away from 2K. So thank you guys for all the new subscribers. Appreciate all of you guys and the support. But go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, so the only silver lining I would say is we've all talked about how Mitchell Robinson in games like tonight typically struggle with like overseas centers. I don't know what it is, but like these guys, have good games against Mitchell Robinsons, these Jacob Holdles. And yeah, so this is a good game for, Sims to kind of come in and see what he can do, and so this is one of those games that, I think is a good one for Sims. I'm hoping that, like regardless of the minutes that he hasn't been able to get with us, we know his work ethic. We know he's the kind of guy that, will still put in time on his own time to polish his craft. So I love Sims for that. I've always, loved that he is always ready, regardless, of whether we've set him up to be ready or not. So I want to see him come in. I want to see him have a good game. I think this is the kind of game where, it's one of those things that our team needs to realize, especially now with if Quickly might not come. And I don't know where you guys saw that Brunson was 100% for sure playing. I saw him as questionable last that I looked, so I'm hoping that he is 100%. But I think with the fact that Quickly's not there, I think with the fact that Mitch is not there, this is one of those things that our main guys need to realize that it's not about just taking shots, but taking quality shots, because you don't have the insurance of Mitchell Robinson to get you those rebounds. So we need to make sure that the shots that we're taking are actual good looks, that it's actually ball movement and making sure that we're getting the best opportunity. Because if we're taking shots that are poor, plus letting this team hit their 3-pointers, then it's going to be, a freaking quicksand that we're not able to get out of. So this is where we have to make sure that we're taking quality shots, we're moving the ball, playing as a team because our insurance policy of Mitchell Robinson is not there. So we need to see Sims come in, play his best effort. I think it'll be a decent game for him. But I think the other guys need to set him up for success and not make it to where they expect him to get the kind of rebounds that Mitchell Robinson would get.
Eddie?
Listen, man, my thoughts and my head's all over the place on this. So I'm just going to keep it to tonight. Look, Sims is on deck. He's up next, right? So let's see what we got now. I know he hasn't played, but he's been practicing with these guys every day. He's been in a full training camp. He's been on this team a few years. He knows what's expected of him. So now's the time. You step up. You come in here. You step up your game, and you do what you got to do. So he's learned from Mitch. He's been behind him. You know what I'm saying? So maybe he comes in and gets some of those offensive boards. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be an easy task, but he knows what's expected of him. And he's just got to come in and do his best. And the Knicks, as a team, they just got to come out, hit their shots, and play some defense. All right? Maybe we'll get the win tonight. Toronto's not that great of a team, but they always seem to play us tough. So let's see what happens. I'm worried, but maybe they come out and they play tough tonight, and we get a win.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, fellas. A bit of an emotional roller coaster this morning with all the breaking news and all the tidbits, but no, it was a great conversation. Shout out to my guy Corey Lee. You can catch him on the Blorens TS Network with Uncle Freezy, especially on Sundays for the 718 boys. My guy Corey Lee and my brother Boulevard hold it down every Sundays. Make sure you guys support that movement over there. But for the Morning Brew Sports, Knicks Morning Brew, I'm your guy Hector, hanging out with my brother Phil. And that's my guy, Eddie Presti, a.k.a. Baby Shark, Baby Shark. But no, we appreciate all of you guys for tuning in, all the love as well. Shout out to Ebony, all the different Knicks content creators, like I said. And like always, I'm your guy, Hector. And where's the video? Deuces. There it is.